going up to my front door, I hear my phone ringing, and I'm like, "Oh, great, my phone's back on! Thank goodness!" And I picked it up, and it was Matt saying, "Hey, man, would you be interested in checking out this Pearl Jam gig?" And I'm like, "Who the Pearl Jam?"
Sure.
Yeah. It was just like that.
Did you have to audition or anything like that?
Well, first I had to figure out who the Mother Love Bone and Pearl Jam were.
Welcome. We are Neil,
Luke, and Dave.
340-somethings reminiscing on the runners and riders of 90s guitar music.
We look at the bands who soundtracked our youth on both sides of the pond and interview some of our heroes from the bands that defined a generation.
You'll hear about the good, the bad, and the ugly of 90s guitar music.
This podcast is Stupid and Contagious. Episode 108 of the Stupid and Contagious podcast. Dave's back, isn't he? Look,
Hey,
there he is.
hooray.
I haven't been anywhere. It's you two that went.
You've been punting, haven't you? You've been off punting.
Yeah,
Hunting on the Thames.
I've had a few little holidays this year.
Punter.
Mm.
You're always on holiday.
Yeah, I've had about 4 holidays this summer.
Before all that,
Yeah.
you need to say who today's guest is so people can
Oh shit! Yeah,
listen
I haven't
and then
done it for so long.
tell
I
them-
forgot.
tell them they can
I forgot
skip
how-
ahead if you
I forgot
if
how
they
the-
just come
I forgot how the podcast
for this.
works.
Come
I
on,
forgot
come
how
on.
the podcast works. All right, fucking hell. Right, so this week we're talking to David Abbruzzese. Is that you pronounced his surname right?
No,
Probably not.
no.
Go on.
Well, I looked it up, and then he luckily said it
Abbruzzese.
himself. So he's pronounced it Abbruzzese.
Right, okay. We'll go with that then, shall we?
That's it. That's what he said in the interview.
All right, so we're
Dave
talking to
Abbruzzese.
Dave Abbruzzese from Pearl Jam. It's a really good one. He's a really nice guy, amazing stories. Sitting on a beach somewhere. It's a good one.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
It's a good
So,
one.
but if you have come just to see Dave's interview, you probably want to skip ahead about 15 minutes because we're going to be talking bollocks for a while.
No, they've
I
come
shouldn't
all
say that, right?
bollocks.
We never say that.
No, I know,
Yeah,
but
well-
if people come just to listen to Pearl Jam, they don't want to listen to us
Wow.
talking shit, do they?
Why do you... They
That's
know
that's
how
what
to
they have to-
fucking fast forward.
That's what it costs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's the price they pay.
our nonsense. Yeah, fucking hell.
Fucking hell,
But if you don't
change
want
the
to, you can
podcast
skip
format
forward.
now. It's
I'm
too
not
late.
changing it. I'm just saying on this special occasion.
Yeah, usually what happens is anyway, someone will go in and say, "Oh, by the way, everyone, the interview starts at blah blah blah." That's what people do on YouTube.
Okay,
They
yeah,
it
do
for
that. Do that. Help people out.
Oh, right. Yeah, so that's coming up. It's a really good one. So stick around for that, or fast forward to that. But if you want to find out what we've been up to in the last sort of 2 or 3 weeks, then stick around. Dave, come on.
More than 2 or 3 weeks, mate. It's 6 or 7.
Fucking hell, it was it. It's just what you're going to do this whole podcast is to correct people.
Yep.
Oh,
That's what he does all his life.
I don't.
it's true. It's his job, isn't it?
Oh, mate. The amount of nonsense you come out with that I don't correct, you'd be surprised.
Oh, Dave, how was your boat trip? How was your canal escapades?
Yeah, it's quite nice. I didn't enjoy it that much because it was so scary being in command of this massive vessel.
Was it like
It's
the
a
David
barge,
Essex
though, isn't it?
short-lived miniseries, The River, from the late 80s?
Yes.
Did you have a neckerchief?
Yeah,
Oh man, I wish I had.
look,
Spotted neckerchief.
your dad's fave. Wasn't Lovejoy?
Yeah.
Didn't that revolve around a barge as well?
No,
Did
he was
it?
an antique dealer.
No.
Oh, I'm sure there was.
He was
some
an
sort of
antiques
barge
dealer.
involved.
Yeah.
There's probably an episode with
Yeah.
a barge. Anyway, carry on.
Good, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
it's a whole other
Yeah.
world, whole other layer of life in Britain.
It's wet,
There's
isn't
loads
it?
of people living in those things along the
Yeah,
along the
it's like
canal.
van
Did you
life,
did you
isn't it?
chat? Did you
Forest
make
life.
friends?
It was very friendly. I wouldn't say we made friends, but someone offered to help us out of when I got stuck in a hedge. So there's always people around to help
Sure.
you and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why did you drive into a hedge?
Well, you shit yourself when someone comes up, that you have to pass. It's terrifying, and then
you towards each other. You mean?
yeah,
You can't stop.
steer
Yeah,
can
to,
you?
yeah,
That's
yeah.
the thing.
yeah, you steer to the right, and then
Yeah.
half a minute later it starts moving.
Mm.
And then you're in a hedge before you can move back.
Yeah.
But that was the first day. We got the hang of it after that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It looks fun, man.
Sounds
great.
good. What else?
Yeah.
What else been going on in Berwick?
Oh,
On
man.
Dave's life.
Well, we've just had the great Berwick water leak.
Oh,
That was
What
on the
happened?
news, at the local news,
Yeah.
because loads of people were without water. Drusilla's had to shut.
Hang on, you've got a reservoir right behind your house.
yeah. You got Arlington Reservoir.
You could have just drained it from there.
Well,
So what do you
only.
mean? There was a leaky pipe and the water didn't get to people's houses?
Yeah.
Huh.
And then as soon as they fix one and turn the water on, another, it bursts somewhere else.
Well, see,
that
that's what
happened
you're
3
paying your money
times.
for, you see.
I know.
That's why
It's
the
just-
prices are going up.
It's terrifying how bad our water is. The pipes.
That's what, there you go. That's
Yeah.
what you get for 30
Dodgy
years of
pipes.
neoliberalism, underinvestment of money going to shareholders instead of back into
There
the
we go.
infrastructure.
Oh, don't get
How
me
can
started.
you can't it's a monopoly. You can't have a market without a market. There's no competitors, so they got no they don't need to do anything. Anyway, go on. Don't.
No, you're right. It's the biggest mistake
It's a racket.
by a government
racket.
ever.
It's outrageous.
At least there's
Yeah.
not raw sewage running down the streets. In your
That's
neck
just
of
in the
woods.
sea. It's just in the sea on sea.
Yeah,
Beach.
that's it. Just runs straight into the
Yeah.
rivers.
Yeah.
Were the rivers full of shit on your barge? Were you going through loads of turds on the river?
No.
Did you have to just plop straight into it yourself? Did you just put your arse over the side and plop it down? That's how it works.
They're not that bad.
But did you
It's
do
they have
it?
collected
toilets?
in a tank on the boat.
Yeah, but did you do
Oh, right,
it?
and then you fire them out like missiles.
It's just a hole in the side of the boat,
Different kind of tank.
like a cannon.
It's a tank joke, man.
Oh, sorry, missed that.
That's all right. There was a bad one.
But did you hop your ass off the side and have a plop?
No.
Amateur. You get a hang of it next time.
Is that it?
Yeah, no, that's it.
Hang on. No, it's not. I know for a fact that Victoria won first prize in the Berwick produce competition.
Yes. Well, we're going back.
Oh,
a
So
few
there
weeks
is
now.
more.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Come on. What happened? Tell us.
Well, it was a really proud moment. It entered the biggest vegetable.
You entered the big vegetable. What do you mean?
So we had this beetroot.
He
It
entered
was
his head.
absolutely massive.
And you
and
have
it
to
just-
you have to
it
explain
won
a
it
bit more.
hands
What's the competition? What's the situation?
Well, you know the produce
Berwick
show we have
Produce
every year.
Festival.
I know
You've
it.
been to it?
Yeah, I've
I'm
been
sure
to it a couple
everyone
of times.
listening's heard of it.
Everyone knows about the
Berwick
Berwick Produce
Fete.
Festival.
Yeah,
whatever it is.
best
Yeah.
best tomatoes, best
Yeah.
apples,
Yeah.
best potatoes, and then there's a category
Okay.
for biggest vegetable.
Right.
Okay.
There
yeah, go
always
on.
is at these things, and we
Yeah.
won
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
With a massive beetroot.
Congratulations.
yeah. But to be honest, the
Did you eat it?
competition they were just big vegetables. They weren't like
Yeah,
there was a
that's not
pumpkin,
the
but it
same,
was
is it?
normal sized pumpkin.
But pumpkins are just big,
that's
right?
just a
right,
They
right,
are
right.
big, yeah.
yeah,
And then
yeah,
there's
yeah.
marrow, and they are big.
Yeah, marrows are big. Yeah.
Yeah, but our beetroot was actually really big for a beetroot.
I've seen it as a big
Yeah.
beetroot. Big
Yeah.
bloody
Wow.
beetroot.
So rightful winners.
Did you eat it?
No, I can't stand them. Do you like them?
No,
I really
one
don't
likes
like beetroot.
I don't mind. I don't mind a bit of beetroot. Yeah.
It's all right pickled.
to get a trophy.
Yeah.
No, it's not for that category. It's not a trophy.
Just the honour. That's all you need,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Just
the honour.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. I think that's enough of Dave's catch up, is it?
I think
Luke,
it's
you
more
got
than
any more
enough.
questions for him?
No, I think that's more than enough.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Neil, how about you?
Well,
Well,
we had a
spoke
short
last week.
catch up last week, didn't we? But
Mm.
yeah, running cold and hot water in the van. Got a shower in there now, so that's getting there. I went to see the Levelers, Populate itself.
Oh yeah, how was that?
Vex. It was good actually. It was a shame because it was supposed to be outside, but there was like a storm predicted, which didn't really materialise. So they moved it inside. It was still all right, but would have been better if it was outside. But it was good. I haven't seen Pop Will Eat Itself or Levelers actually for 30 years, I think.
Mm.
Both brilliant.
Wow.
Both brilliant. Yeah, really good. So
Good
Yeah, that
stuff.
was
It's quite a funny combo, isn't it?
yeah, it's a bit of a
But
weird
they've been
one.
touring everywhere, haven't they? Together.
Yeah, they did like a mini tour together. It is a bit of an odd pairing, I think, but it's kind of worked. But it was good. I enjoyed it. They're both bands that I really like, so yeah, it was good.
Yeah, good
It was
one.
good. It's both still got it. Highly recommend going to see them, either or both, if they're playing near you.
Good
So,
stuff.
There you go. It's good with the
Have you got any
didgeridoo come
interesting?
out.
Have you got any interesting medical problems to share?
I had fucking COVID a couple of weeks ago. That's why we had to
Oh, yeah.
do a
Oh, really?
rerun. Yeah,
Yeah, of
again.
course. Doesn't exist.
Yeah.
China virus.
Don't you
Yeah.
believe in
Call it the
viruses?
China virus. It's made up, isn't it?
It's all a hoax.
It's all a hoax. He didn't get anything.
Yeah. So I had that.
Did you get
yeah,
better?
Well,
Have you still
did
got
you
it?
get better?
I'm all right. Yeah. Yeah, I'm fine.
Might have long
Still a bit
COVID.
sleepy. No,
Long COVID,
short
isn't
COVID. Yeah, it was short COVID, this one.
You went on holiday as well, didn't you? Didn't you go camping somewhere or something?
Didn't go camping. Went to Guam. Little
Oh.
tiny Pacific island. That was pretty cool.
How'd you get there? Swam.
Swam. Yeah. It was good, man. Did a bit of snorkeling. Went into this this cave, which was pretty cool. This pitch black
Bum
cave. You could swim
snorkeling.
around in it. Did some bum snorkeling. Yeah, it's cool. It's a beautiful place, man. So America. I went to America, basically. It's America.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
They speak Americano.
Yeah. Dollars and all of that. Yeah, it's America.
Huh. There you go. It's
It's
pretty good.
cool. I went to a couple of domestic trips. Went to Kyoto and Osaka with my nephews. Came over, stayed at my place. That was pretty
That's
fun.
right. Yeah, the
It's good.
boys came over, didn't they? Boys were
The
back
boys,
in town.
yeah,
Or in town.
they were in town for the first time.
Yeah.
That was fun. Yeah.
What are they like?
Speaking of local news, Dave's water thing. Near me today, this afternoon, someone got stabbed to death in my
Fuck, that's
neighbourhood.
better. Well, not better, but you know, that is.
What, by the mafia?
No, just by a random guy. And it was
Haven't
like
they got those star people over there with the Death Stars?
star people, ninjas. You mean star people? No,
Ninjas.
some guy just stabbed a woman to death and
Fuck.
then escaped. So it's all on like the national news and stuff. But they just reported a couple of hours ago that he got caught at the airport.
Good.
Don't know where he's trying to go, but yeah,
What a bastard.
Somewhere else.
Yeah. So
Fuck.
I was in just
Well, at least they
my area.
caught a fucker. But that's not good, is
Yeah.
it? You can't go around
It's not
stabbing
good at all.
people.
You can't. It's not. It's not
It's
the damn thing.
It's not socially acceptable.
And to death. Yeah, she died. It's terrible.
Fucking hell.
Mm.
R.I.P. Whoever it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not good. What was I going to say?
No, sorry, shouldn't have said it. Let's put a downer on things, isn't it? Sorry.
No, let's bring it back up.
Let's bring it
What
back
else
up.
do you-
What? No, music, plenty of music, of course.
Oh,
I've got
Dave was
some,
saying,
listening to
he
stuff.
said, how are your nephews? What they like?
Yeah,
Are they
they're
old
good.
now?
19 and 15.
In their 60s. Their 60s.
Yeah.
19.
Did you have any
so
like
not
competitions? Like
Oh, like well, you would have done, wouldn't you?
yeah.
No, I don't think we had any competition. Oh, we had a game of basketball. We had a game of
There you
basketball.
go.
That was pretty fun. Yeah.
Who
Did they
won?
demolish
It
you?
was good. No.
Or have you still
no.
got it?
I
He's
was
still a
all right.
sprightly
It took
little fella,
took
isn't
me
he?
a while to
He's
warm
still
up,
a-
but I was all right. Held my own. Do you remember when we were in the basketball team, Dave? We've talked
We've
about
had
this in the
this story
podcast, haven't we?
before.
We
We had
have,
the
indeed.
smallest
Go on.
basketball team
right.
in the world.
All right, cut it out. Cut it out.
No, leave it in. We had a basketball team with really small players. Well, not really small, but small players.
Yeah.
It was
Small players.
It was an inclusive
novel.
basketball team.
Exactly. It was. Don't need to discriminate on height.
No, I'm not saying that small people can't play basketball, but I did find it quite funny. That
I mean, we
the
couldn't
team you
play
chose.
basketball. Yeah.
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 You know, all sorts. We were in the vaulting team, me and Luke. It was in all
Yeah,
the teams.
Hey, you know.
Team player, isn't he? Team player.
Well, I don't know. I don't really like teams. Not these days.
Not a team player.
I'm
not
like a
these
lone
days,
wolf.
no.
You know, I'm a maverick. I know.
I think we
Yeah.
all are, but not by
Yeah.
choice, just because we haven't got any friends. But,
Yes,
you know, that's what happens.
Sure.
It's hard to make friends when you're our age and you're
It
a
is,
bloke.
isn't it?
Dave goes to
Yeah.
badminton every week.
You got Babbo. Have you got like badminton friends?
His mum.
Yeah, they are friends, but they're not really people my own age. Like
No.
I haven't got many.
Are they older
No,
or
but
younger?
It is difficult.
Mostly older.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it is
It is
difficult
hard.
when it gets to this age. I think a lot of people struggle. I do struggle.
Same.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I don't know. If anyone wants to be our friends, then you know where we are.
Especially Biss, if you're listening. The call's still going, still out there.
She's still up for it.
Steve,
You know,
Manda, if you're listening, we'll still be friends. It's a callback, that was.
yeah. It's an open-ended invitation. You can
Yeah.
befriend him at any time.
Yeah.
But Luke's
All right,
he's quite
so-
a pain in the arse to have as a friend because he lives so far away.
Hey,
Yeah,
Luke,
it's true.
I know.
Yeah.
It's really
Selfish,
annoying.
Yeah. I mean, I can only apologise.
Well, you should. Were you supposed to come back every year for the Brit Awards? You haven't done it a lot. You didn't do it last year.
You're right. I've been neglecting my Brit Awards.
You
Julie.
ruined that.
You're right. No, because they're rubbish nowadays. They used to be worth coming back for because they were fun, weren't they? You could
Yeah,
watch
well,
it and
it's
take the piss. No, it's not even
Marginally
funny.
better when. Yeah, true. Yeah. We'll have to think of something else to watch when you
Come back for Eurovision each year.
Eurovision. That's a good one.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, that's a good
Dave's
one.
famous Eurovision party. Come
Yeah.
for that. Yeah, maybe.
Oh, it's quite intense though, that party. You've got to actually write stuff down and shit.
I like that. You've got to take it seriously. I like it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, come along for that. Well, I think Dave should probably invite you, but you know,
Well, I did. I just
I
did.
say, there you go.
All right. I mean, don't, start without me. But
No, see you
yeah.
there. See you there.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get on to this week's podcast episode with David
Yeah. Abbruzzese.
It's how it's spelt, Neil.
I haven't got it written in front of me though.
Although
What is it?
when I looked it up, like there's like an Italian word with this just Spain spelling, and that's pronounced Abruzese. Abruzese.
Fucking hell, don't complicate
Like
it.
Italian
It's
word.
struggling enough.
Yeah. And then I watched another YouTube thing, and someone would call it like Abbruzzese, but then he said Abbruzzese. That's what he says in the interview. So that's what we're going
Should we
with.
just call him Dave from
Let's
Pearl
call him
Jam?
Dave.
So if you are watching this, then please do give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and share it with your friends so that they can find our channel. Get involved in the comments. Let us know your favourite Pearl Jam tracks, gigs, memories, all that stuff. If you're listening, leave us a review, rate us, and again, share it with your friends. That's the best way for people to find the podcast. You can sponsor the podcast, Stupid and Contagious podcast at gmail.com.
Oh, I don't have that many notes because it's fucking Pearl Jam, man. Everyone knows who Pearl Jam is, right? So I've got some notes about Dave and a few facts about Pearl Jam. That's about
say that about any
that
band. Yeah.
But come on. It's Pearl Jam.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to tell you about Dave. So,
go on, tell us about Dave.
Born, well, he talks about his upbringing, so I won't go into too much detail, but born in Connecticut, I think then he moved to North Carolina and then Texas, plays the drums, of course, and he played in a load of bands. He lists them all at the start of the interview, so you'll hear all of those. And he joined Pearl Jam in 1991, and it was basically after 10 the first album had been recorded, but before they'd gone out on tour. So basically they were still playing clubs at the point where he joined. So it's a really, really cool story about how he joined. So listen to the interview to hear that. But yeah, basically he ended up going to Seattle, having a jam and joining the band. And apparently he went out immediately and got the Pearl Jam Stickman tattoo on his on his left shoulder.
Yeah.
To show his commitment. Yeah, did it after the next day after he got accepted into the band. Apparently so. Yeah. So, well, okay, very quickly then. Pearl Jam, basically, they started in 1990, as most people know, out of the ashes of Green River and Mother Love Bone. Basically, Jeff Ament, Stone Gossard, Mike McCready were the first three. They got Eddie Vedder in, and then they had a few different drummers over the years. I think they've had the same one, Matt Cameron, since 98, I think, something like that.
He's just left, hasn't he? Right,
oh, has he? Yes, that's right.
I think so.
That's right. Sorry. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
only very recently. Yeah.
And he was in Temple of the Dog, and he played on a few early Pearl Jam demos as well. So he was kind of been, around the band from the start. But anyway, so Dave replaced.
Soundgarden.
Okay, maybe.
I'm not sure. I might have just made that up. Carry on.
Good enough. So he basically joined them on the 10 tour. Yeah, they were still playing clubs and stuff, but then basically, well, I say then, 10 took a long time. It took like a year to kind of really kind of take off, basically. But when it did, boy, did those guys go into the stratosphere. Yeah.
It's good though,
Rocket, wasn't it?
It's brilliant.
It's a good album.
It's great. It's really good. It's really good. Yeah. So
I think it's good
the first
now.
thing
I wasn't that bothered at the time, but yeah, I do think it's
interesting. Well, as you'll hear in the interview, Dave doesn't think much of the record either.
I don't know. I think it's on my page. Oh.
Yeah. But he did play on the Even Flow single, which was re-recorded as a single, even though that was on the album. So he's on that. Toured with Red Hot Chili Peppers, Nirvana, basically getting bigger and bigger. So next album, Versus. Again, he talks about it in the interview, so I won't go into too much detail, but yeah, he's a big part of that, basically. Credited as the main songwriter on the opening single, Go. First single and opening track on the album. Real great song, that. And again, toured all over the world to stadiums and stadiums full of people. So next album, Vitality, which again he played on, but he was fired by the band 4 months before the album was released. Yeah, so we talk about it a bit in the interview. We don't go into it too much detail, but like the public narrative is basically that Dave was like the rock star guy. He was like, he wanted like the limos and the parties and the money. And, you know, Pearl Jam were pretending to be like sensitive indie, like they were fucking Fugazi or something. They're pretending to be like non-corporate guys. But well, you'll hear he kind of insinuates in the interview that Eddie Vedder was very, very far from that, and he was desperately trying to be a rock star, basically. So he calls bullshit on that narrative, and I mean, I'm with Dave, man. He doesn't seem like that kind of guy.
Him. I think you can when you speak to someone. I think you can. Well, you know, I trust the guy. I believe what he's saying. So
I think his analysis of why he was chucked out is probably correct. You know, it's just wasn't quite doing the music they wanted. He's into the quite hard rock, and they didn't want to go that way.
More in the
we'll talk about it after. Yeah.
But yeah.
So he got fired, and then he worked with Axl Rose for a bit, and again it doesn't work out. But again, it's a really cool story. Talks about it in the end of the interview.
No one gets on with Axl Rose, though, do they?
So it seems. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was cool. All right, so that's basically Dave A. But let me give you some stats about Pearl Jam. So
go on.
12 studio albums, 23 official live albums, over 72 unofficial live albums, like official bootleg albums.
That's when they did that. Every gig they
did 1 year. Yeah. I think they got the record for the most number of albums in the Billboard Top 200 simultaneously. They had like 72 albums in the charts at the same time. Something ridiculous. Anyway.
Right.
46 singles. Album sales worldwide. Dave, have a guess?
30 million?
Up.
Don't give him another guess. I'll do the next one.
Go on, him.
44 million.
Over 100 million albums worldwide as of 2018. 10 itself is 13 times platinum, which is 13 million sales of 10 by itself. It stayed on the Billboard chart for 5 years. That's like bat out of hell fucking level, man. That's insane, right? And it got to it only got to number 2, but it took a whole year to reach number 2, held off the top spot by Billy Ray Cyrus.
Was that Achy Breaky Heart was on that one, was it?
I guess it must have been. Have been. Versus at the time was the fastest selling album ever. 950,000 albums sold in 5 days in the US. These are insane numbers, man.
Yeah,
and that's 7 times platinum now. And they say that 12 studio albums. The most recent one was last year. Dark Matter got to that again. Got number 2 in the UK charts.
Have something to do with why Dave's on a beach somewhere.
That's why he's on a beach living their life, man. Exactly. Drinking gin and tonic on a tropical beach. What? Of course.
Is it him drumming on Vitalogy?
Yeah.
So it is him on that. So he got something out of that, even though he got fired.
I guess so. Yeah.
But it was on Versus, right?
It was on Versus. Yeah.
So it did. So you got all of that. Yeah. Fair play to the guy.
Yeah. Fair play, man. Yeah, insane statistics, right? They're basically one of the biggest selling bands of all time, basically. There you go. Insane.
Yeah.
There you go. That's Pearl Jam. That's Dave A.
Yeah, we're not going to go into each album. We might do that another time, but yeah. We'll,
oh, God, no.
Because they've released so much since he left. It's just... Do a whole thing on it, can we? Yeah.
Oh, man, maybe we should do a deep dive on 10 one day.
Yeah, maybe.
Like we did for Nevermind
or something.
In Utah and stuff. Yeah, we'll do something like that.
Yeah, we did something. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I think it deserves it. Probably, it's certainly its place in that part of history, isn't it?
Yeah.
Everyone knows 10, don't they? Even if they like it or don't, they know it.
Sure.
All right. So here's Dave, Pearl Jam. Enjoy. Right, Dave, thanks so much for coming on the
Hey.
podcast.
Woo!
What are you up to at the moment? What's going on?
Really? Okay, I'll tell you. I'll be honest. I'm sitting. There's a full moon.
Oh man.
There's a beach that's about 20 feet in front of me, and there's a phosphorescent bloom going on. So it's like that electric laser bloom going as far as you can see.
Yeah.
As soon as we're done, I'm going to put on a mask and just go lay in the water and, do some Fantasia.
Nice, man.
But yeah, I'm sitting at a friend's restaurant, and I just had myself some French fries, and now it's a gin and tonic and a discussion with you two fine fellows.
There you go.
Living the
Sounds
life,
pretty
man.
idyllic.
Somebody asked.
Now. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's this dirty job. Yeah.
No. Oh, and here's another. This might help ease the pain that you're not here with me. I got some dental work done. So
that's not good.
Throughout this process, you may hear me saying things like suffering succotash and shit like that. Feel free to point it out and laugh at me. It's okay.
We will.
Okay.
We'll point and laugh. Oh yeah. All right, let's get going. So, I mean, you played in bands from quite a young age, right? Can you tell us about some of your early bands?
Oh yeah, let's see. Of course, yeah. I wonder how many people have these exact band names too. I was in a band called Vengeance, a band called Tracer, a band called Cashmere, spelled different because we like to spray paint it. The Ubangi Stomp Band, Dr. Tongue, Segway, and a few others along the way.
That's a lot, yeah.
Yeah, those were all, but those were just those are those bands where, you get together and you're playing songs from Judas Priest or Accept, or I heard that Judas Priest or Accept.
It's great.
Or even, we were doing Rush covers, and then I was in a band, the Flaming Roids. Now, I say a band because we were a gaggle of like-minded people who all didn't have a clue of what we were doing in life, but we knew that once the room was lit up with the music of our heroes, like playing King Diamond and Merciful Fate and just head banging and smoking weed and beating the shit out of everything and each other, that it was our drive to, that's how we were family. That's how we were friends, It was like, we didn't understand enough about the world, and what we didn't understand, we were figuring out while we were smoking way too much weed. So it was just kind of one of those things where that was school, and as we went through with the dumb band names, and the bass player and I felt like we wanted more challenging stuff, so we would start playing with these other guys, and then we'd start playing with these, and so it was a meandering cesspool of hormones and immaturity, and it was great, every young player's thing, every high school dropout rock and roll fantasy come to life,
I'm just imagining like that Dazed and Confused movie, the Richard Linklater film. I'm just imagining that as your life, basically.
The one thing that was missing from that movie, in my opinion, were the us's of that movie.
Right.
Because we were at the bonfire, but we were off in the side with the loudest stereo,
Sure.
Yeah, it was different. That Dazed and Confused was more of a jocular. It was more of the, and we were actually, when we were at the bonfire, we were sitting inside the car with the loud stereo, with the windows rolled up, listening to the new, Ozzy's new solo album, or, shit like that. So they left those people out. But as I've come to find, as I've matured, that probably, it's probably good. We were, viewed from the outside, we might have been boring because we just had our eyes closed and we were banging our heads and
just vibing.
So the kind of the music you've mentioned, that kind of like 80s metal, 80s rock, where were you getting that from? Is that from like the radio or like friends or older?
Oh man,
stuff?
It was school, I mean, it was a combination of things. Some of us wanted to be as cool as our older brothers. So, you know, they turned us on. They were listening to Kiss, and they were in the Kiss army. So we were into Kiss and Zeppelin. And my dad turned me on to the Grand Funk Railroad album. You know, and so there were all those influences, but then there were those bands, those albums that came out like Permanent Waves from Rush and Into the Outdoor and Back in Black at AC/DC. And those things were like new. I mean, you know, that was one of the first concerts I ever went to was the AC/DC Back in Black tour. I was 12, 1980,
wow.
you know.
Yeah.
And I touched Angus Young's leg.
Did you?
Amazing, you know? But, you know, it was just, I personally was like, I look at the 80s was an incredible time to be grasping at straws to be a musician. You know, the music was still speaking to us and we could relate to it. And there wasn't the I me movement that came in later with the kind of the Duran Duran or the, you know, those bands, or like the music is now where people are singing about how they feel about something they like. And I personally couldn't give a shit, you know, but back then the lyrics were vague enough that you could turn them into something that mattered to you.
Right.
So, you know, my parents didn't understand me. I mean, we had a good relationship, but they, you know, different generation, different everything. And, so, you know, though there was music of that era that kind of talked to me, you know, if I had questions, I could find answers, even if they weren't really there, I could find them in the lyrics, you know?
Yeah.
Totally, so it was great. That. It was great. Plus all that was the era of like Kerrang and Hit Parader and all these, you know, Rolling Stone, all these magazines that there, you know, without there being MTV yet, you had time to fantasize and process, you know?
Yeah.
So it was like, you know, and Triumph. Remember the band Triumph?
I know the name. I don't know the music, man. What are we talking that hard rock?
No, Triumph was I guess they would have been arena rock, but they were pretty progressive. They were Canadian, so they had that Canadian artist, you know, he was using full chords instead of bar chords, that kind of thing, you know?
Okay.
But I saw a Triumph concert and the drummer Gilmore, I was like at the half court line of Reunion Arena, and he was stomping his kick drum, and the lights came on, and there was 15,000 people all going and I just went, wow, I want to.
Fuck yeah.
You know,
yeah.
And,
I want to bear that.
You know, it was before cell phones, and it was before, you know, it was back when if somebody called and you were on the phone, they got a busy signal and it wasn't a trip. They didn't think that you didn't like them anymore. You know what I mean? So it was an easier time to fantasize about being something that really, when you opened your eyes, you weren't. You know, it was just great. It was a great time to be able to idealize things and put on headphones and imagine you were in Led Zeppelin, you know?
Sure.
And imagine that it would be cool because you still thought it was then. You didn't know about the 22 and a half other hours in a day, you know?
Sure. Well, we'll get onto that later maybe, but yeah. So this is in Texas, right? Was it a small town?
This covered, you know, because I started listening to music as a source of really spirituality when I was very, very young. My mom got me this it was a plastic 45. You put on a 45, and when you close the lid, it would play. It only had one speaker, but it would play. And the 45 that came with it was a single from the Beatles, and one side had the song "Birthday" on it. And it was just like, yeah. And so that motivated me into that. And then the great album-oriented rock, and then, you know, Aerosmith was new, and all this stuff was showing up, and this is in Connecticut, and WGRC was the radio station, and it was FM, and FM had just really started, you know, stereo music. I mean, you know, I was laying in the hatchback on top of the back deck behind the back seats of my dad's Barracuda, and it had one speaker, you know, And when the Beatles, I remember a Beatles album came out and Pet Sounds came out, and they were things that were in stereo. We only had one fucking speaker, so
You only got
right.
half the music.
and
That's it, yeah.
but that was in Connecticut, and then my folks, we moved to North Carolina for a year. And that was interesting because, in Connecticut, I was also turned on to a lot of funk music and stuff. And then I got to North Carolina, and just to show you how I was raised, this story might open the door. And plus, it's just funny stories.
We like stories.
Yeah, this across the street from my folks' house, 161 Brewer Street in East Hartford, Connecticut. We had a duplex,
There you go.
and across the street there was the old lady's house. She was a widow, so she was the witch, And then next to her was this house that it was like three generations of it was a black family, three generations. Grandma, big mama, and they grew their own vegetables. We all did. We weren't. I was raised in a paycheck to paycheck. Both parents worked, and it was like. So we did what we had to do to survive. And they grew the most amazing eggplants, the black family across the street. Yeah. So at Christmas time, one of either me or my two brothers, or it was a gift to all of us, we'd get a football. And, we were jumping out of the second-story window into the snow. That's how deep the snow was in winter. So we'd get this football in winter. We'd be out there throwing it around, and inevitably it would, be left outside, and it would snow, and it was this and that. So by the time the sun came around and there was grass on the ground, that football was a wreck,
Right.
So we would play football with the kids across the street, and we were using eggplants as footballs. Okay. These big purple football-esque shaped things.
Sure.
And so when we moved to North Carolina, I remember, new kid on the block, didn't really fit in yet with everybody. My hair was kind of long, and that was really strange there because we moved to, it's Fayetteville, but they called it Vietnam because the 102nd Airborne Division was there.
Right.
So it was, and Vietnam had descended and all that jazz. So I went to play football with these kids. And these kids, one of the kids made a comment about playing football with eggplants.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you played football with eggplants too? That's so cool. I grew up with it. I didn't know they were talking about the black kids.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. So it was kind of a shock going from Connecticut to North Carolina.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that until I was in my 30s. I just went, one day I went, wait a minute. They weren't talking about I thought they were talking about the vegetable, for fuck's sake. They were talking about the black kids.
That's fucked up, man. Yeah.
So then we moved to Texas, and I can sum that move up cultural shock wise to going into the elementary school with my mom, and the principal showing me a wooden board and saying, if you mess up, we get to hit you with this. I'm like, what? And then going in to meet the librarian, and she said, oh, David, isn't that a pretty name for a girl? Because I had long hair.
Yeah.
And
there was a dress code. So that ended, from there till about 14, 15, it was like, as long as it could possibly get, there was this much earlobe showing and barely touching my dress collar, So that was kind of my move through, and what kept me sane through all that shit that I didn't understand was the music,
Totally understandable. Yeah. Got to be that escape, right? Escape.
Yep.
Yeah.
Another great story. My dad ran, he was a manager of a store called Treasure City, and it was in South Dallas, which is, South Oak Cliff, which is, we were the only macadamia nuts in the brownie, we were the only white kids, So there was an Evel Knievel pinball machine, and if you whacked the paddles really hard, it would pop games for free. And so I'm there, 10 years old, 11 years old, and there was this black kid that would show up on Saturdays when I'd go to work with my dad, and we would both stand there banging on those flippers till we popped 99 games, and then he would work one flipper and I'd work the other flipper with our arms around each other. That was Saturday morning. Well, fast forward to 9 years later, I'm in a band called Dr. Tongue, and we're cruising around in a 280Z, and and they're talking about video games, and I wasn't really into video games at this point, but they're talking about the favorite, and I was like, video games, my ass. My favorite game was this Evel Knievel pinball machine at my dad's Treasure City store, blah, blah, blah. And I noticed that the bass player of the band, Daryl Phillips, is a black guy. And I noticed he's like, out of the corner of my eye, I can see that he's giving me a look I'd never seen before. And I looked at him, and he goes, "You were that white kid." And it was him. So
how random.
Yeah,
there we go.
That turned me on to funk and Cameo and Sly Stone, rest in peace. And
oh man, just got that news a couple of hours ago. Oh man.
Well, it's not surprising. I mean, it's incredible.
Yeah.
That
it is believable, but
but what a guy! What a guy!
What a life, man! Fucking hell! Yeah. So how do you go then?
Go ahead.
How do you go then from Dr. Tongue and whatever else the band names were to Pearl Jam? How'd you get the call?
Oh, well, I was working with a producer, David Castell, in Dallas, and Matt Chamberlain had worked a lot with David Castell, and he left 10 Hands, the band that he was in, and got the gig to play with Edie Brickell once they got signed and were going on tour and all that. And so Matt was leaving town, and Dave would call me up. I'd worked with there was instrumental, kind of a jazz fusion band that I was playing with, and we had done some recording with Dave. He had a remote truck, and we formed a bond, and we started folding movies together. And basically, when bands would come in for him to produce, he would call Matt in and have Matt, lay down the solid drums for him. And then Matt left, so I started getting the calls from Dave. And when I was playing with Dr. Tongue, we were playing at a place called the Main Street Bar, and Matt Chamberlain was out with Pearl Jam on just this 2-week, like they lost their first drummer, Dave Cruisin', and so they hired Matt to come in and do this little showcase tour up the East Coast. And so once they were in New York, Matt got the call from G.E. Smith from Saturday Night Live, and he asked if Matt wanted to be in the Saturday Night Live band. And Matt's a well-studied, incredible drummer, and that fit more along his career path than hopping in a van with a band that was in dead up to their eyeballs and the record hadn't come out yet.
Sure.
So he was in Dallas with the incomparable Mike Dillon, percussionist, drummer. And they had went to the main bar to see just, we happened to be playing, and they were sitting at the bar, and Matt had been talking to Mike about, he had to find somebody to recommend, because he didn't want to leave him in a bind. So Mike just nonchalantly said, "Well, what about Dave?" And so Matt was like, okay, well. So I went, after that gig, I was on my way home in my 78 Ranchero, and I hit a bump, and my snare drum bounced out of the back of my truck and went just tumbling into the middle of the intersection. It was like, fuck.
Oh, man.
I knew it was going to be fucked. I mean, it was metal. I knew it was, I was like, So
that'll be a good outcome.
And so when I got home, it was the first time since I was 12 years old that I unpacked my drums, and instead of setting them up, I just stacked them up. And I literally was thinking, you know what, maybe it's time to just just chill. You know, my parents aren't lawyers. I'm not in the game. I'm playing with guys that are, you know, as incredible as anyone could be. And I don't see how we're going to move forward because we don't know how to play the game. We just know how to play the instruments, you know?
Yeah.
So I stacked my drums up, and the next morning I woke up and my phone was off. And I had to pay my phone bill. I owed maybe $6 or something like that. So not a little under $6 on my phone bill, so I could turn it back on. So the bass player, the kid who I did the pinball machine thing with, he came by and he talked me out of selling my last joint to him for $3, you know, $3-4. And I'm like, God damn it, I really needed the money. So I'll sell you my last joint, but you have to smoke it with me. And then I dug through my couch and found a bunch of coins. Yay! So I walked to the place and I paid my phone bill. And while I was walking back home, going up to my front door, I hear my phone ringing. And I'm like, oh, great, my phone's back on. Thank goodness. And I picked it up, and it was Matt saying, hey, man, would you be interested in checking out this Pearl Jam gig? And I'm like, who the fuck is Pearl Jam?
Sure.
So it was just like that. That kind of zany how it came to pass, you know?
Yeah.
So,
And did you have to audition or anything like that?
Well, first I had to figure out who the fuck Mother Love Bone and Pearl Jam were.
Oh, sure.
And I was in a radio show called the Chris and Dave's Music We Like show on KNON, a community radio. And basically our whole trip was people could call in and request music. And if we liked it, we'd play it. And if we didn't, we'd tell them why we didn't. And then we'd play some Zappa or some Brand X or something cool, you know? Try to turn them on to new things, Captain Beefheart or Zappa or whatever.
Nice.
And so there was this one show where I came in and I was like, hey, Chris, I got this opportunity to check out this band. So we went through and we found the Mother Love Bone album. We found it. Made it through about 20 seconds of that, and it was like, blech, blech. The overproduced tripe. What is this?
Just like too pop rocky. What was the problem?
You know, I mean, like I said, we were listening to Zappa and Brand X.
It's very different.
And Fripp and Eno, and you know, we were listening to, dare I say, music. You know what I mean? And this stuff just sounded. I mean, it sounded like it was slick, but it sounded young, and it just wasn't. Fly in the Family Stone, Parliament, all these, and this had none of that to it. You know, it was just slick.
Yeah,
sure.
And so we kind of gonged that, and we were talking. It's like, I don't know, man. And then we put on the Pearl Jam stuff, and it was like 10 seconds. Second song, 20 seconds. Ugh. Third song, I was like, oh man, I don't know. And Chris says, well, Dave, have you ever been to Seattle? And I said, no. I said, well, it's a free trip to Seattle. And I was like, you're right.
True.
So the next day I called the management office and in Seattle from Texas, and Eddie and Jeff happened to be there. And I said, do you guys want me to learn this stuff like as, you know, you want me to play it as is?
Yeah.
And if they were going to say yes, I was going to say, yeah, I'm not the guy for it.
Right.
And luckily they said, no, just come up and jam. And I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And so that's how that happened. And so I went up, and basically every day I'd hang out with a different guy in the band, and we'd end up at the rehearsal space and we were just jamming, you know. I mean, it was a few years into me being in the band before I ever heard one song all the way through from the 10 record.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Yeah. And that was just because it came on while I was in a restaurant and I couldn't get away from it. I really like the music. I like the 10 record as it is live, the way it was.
Right. So
you know,
that's my next question. How did your drumming change those songs then? How did your drumming change them?
Well, see, I was pretty naive, I think. I didn't take into consideration what they wanted their band to be. when they told me, you know, how long will it take you to go get your drums and come back up? You got the gig. I looked at it like, you know, because with all the other musical projects I'd been a part of, you know, I was a headstrong drummer. I paid attention to the music, but it was like if it worked, we all felt it worked. If it didn't, we tried to fix it, or we just said, that one doesn't work. Let's try another one, you know? And when Pearl Jam, when we started playing, like from the Mural Amphitheater show, there's one style to it, but I hit harder and I was kind of driving the songs a little bit harder. And as we worked more and more, and as Stone and I worked more and more, you know, we'd both show up early for rehearsals, and I started, you know, my kind of sensibilities of playing that were developed by being influenced by Matt Chamberlain and Mike Dillon, Earl Harvin, and Brian Wakeland, and all these guys from North Texas. It was like I was looking at Stone's guitar playing and his body movements, and I was trying, you know, I was playing, you know, North Texas at the time, there was an element of percussionism to everything. So I was adding hi-hat stuff and splash cymbal stuff to accent what I felt were the important rhythmic things to keep things from sounding the way that the way that they sounded on the record that I didn't like, which was kind of flat to me.
Yeah.
It's like good songs, but what made them rise and fall were the lyrics and Eddie's performance. And to me, when I came in, I think it has a lot to do with funk and kind of more progressive music. I was looking at the arrangements and how to, like, I saw, okay, Stone's doing a riff over here in this section to lead into the next one. That's important. So I'm going to accent it.
Right.
You know, I'm gonna do something on my hi-hat that brings a little bit more of his riff into it. So then when we go to the next part and I'm just bashing, it'll open up and breathe more, and it'll, you know, and in playing that way, I started. This is realizing it in hindsight. I was driving the band, and on the 10 record, and on every record they've done since without me, the drummer, whether it's Matt or Jack or Dave, is not driving the band. It's not.
Yeah.
And you know, I appreciate Dave Cruzen as a person and a player. Matt Cameron, Matt Chamberlain, Jack Irons are all fantastic people and incredible players. But I didn't notice, and it happened so fast, the band blowing up and, you know, settling into that style and approach that I developed to work with these guys based on that album that had already been recorded. I didn't notice that all of a sudden we were a really powerful hard rock band. We weren't a grunge band. We were I wouldn't even say we were a bluesy band. You know, the 10 record, I think, is a little more blues based in a way, you know, but I wouldn't call it a grunge record, but it was all of a sudden, you know, like when I look back at the performances and then the Versus record and some of the songs on Vitalogy, you know, I was playing with dynamics, but I was driving the band like a rock drummer drives a band, you know? And with when I went back one day, I heard a song that they did with Matt or with Jack Irons, and I was like, huh. And what inspired me to look, I saw Dave Cruzen playing with Candlebox, and he was proper posture and just stupid, but his parts were great, but he was just playing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
He wasn't really sweating, you know?
Yeah.
And I thought, huh. And so then I watched Jack, who, you know, Jack had toured with us, and I loved Jack. I mean, Jack was an influence on my playing. Uplift Mofo Party Plan. Incredible.
Yeah.
I was in a Dr. Tongue. We wished we were the Chili Peppers, you know?
Sure.
I love that record. And I think Chad Smith did the same for the Peppers, as far as driving the band, whereas before,
Mm.
you know,
That's interesting.
But I listened to Jack, and I was like, holy shit. And then I listened to Matt, and I was like, oh my God, these guys never wanted to be a hard rock band. Who knew?
Well, they are now.
Luckily, we were for a minute, because, you know, I personally don't think that the band that they were with Jack, or the band that they were with Dave Cruzen, I don't think would have. I mean, we had 30 minutes to win over the Red Hot Chili Peppers crowd.
Yeah,
on the Blood Sugar Sex Magic record, and we went out there and in 30 minutes just did it, you know. And I think my style of playing and the way I approach those songs translated into a really powerful, like, you know, in rock and roll, when you see a rock band playing on stage, that feeling of at any moment something really bad could happen.
Sure.
You know?
Sure.
At any moment,
the
there's like there's a tension there that you it's palpable, it's powerful. And Pearl Jam, you know, their first record, and I didn't feel it from their subsequent records and the songs that I've heard. So I just realized that, well, maybe maybe they didn't really want to be a rock band.
Do you think? Do you think the way that you played, do you think it inspired them to behave differently on stage? Because obviously Eddie Vedder hanging off the
absolutely,
the gantries.
It supported that. I mean, imagine take me out of the equation and put someone back there doing that. It would have been.
Can't hang off the rafters to fucking Candlebox, can you?
Yeah. Well, it's just that energy, you know. I mean, I remember seeing those bands like Triumph and AC/DC and the young versions of Def Leppard when they were a rock band, which they were before they got switched up. And even bands like Black Oak, Arkansas, and Molly Hatchet, and Leonard Skinner. I mean, seeing them from a distance, where the drummer was just a manimal, and when you know when you see a band from a distance and the drummer hits that cymbal at split second before you hear it, you know, he hits that snare, and then you hear pow. You know, that visual, that perspective of rock and roll. I kept that in mind the whole time I was in that band, you know. That's and it was about playing powerfully and trying to play flamboyantly enough to respect the songs. But when those guys turned around and looked at me, I was working, and if they weren't, they would have felt silly.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah. So I feel like it did change. But also at the same time, there was a magic in the air, and I feel like I can't take the responsibility because it was the audience, it was us feeding off everything, each other, feeding off the audience, feeding off us, and it was a magic time. It was a really magic time for that band.
Yeah, you mentioned the Chili Peppers. How was it playing with them and Smashing Pumpkins and Nirvana as well? How was that?
Great. In a word, great. I mean, you know, like I remember sitting there and thinking, wow, I'm watching one of my favorite bands play night after night from the best seat in the house. You know, I mean, there was one time where Chad's bass drum pedal broke and I laid under his floor toms and I played with a drumstick. I played half the show hitting his bass drum because I knew the song so fucking well. There was a time where Chad didn't show up, so I got to sit down with John and Flea and play some funk, you know. And
so you played with him.
I'm just like, wow, this is amazing. But it was amazing. You know, and it was so cool because we started out, you know, we were doing our 14 people in a 15 passenger van in August and September in the Southwest.
No air conditioning.
Waking up with Jeff's gig shorts dripping on your face. And but then we got the call that the Peppers wanted us to go out, and you know, all of a sudden we were in. It was an old bus, and the bus driver, Frank Zipprich, Dirty Frank was written about him because we were convinced that he had a a bay under the bus that he made anus ankle soup out of our fans in. And he would always improperly
Wait,
word
wait,
like,
anus ankle soup. Anus ankle soup.
from anus ankles. Yeah, that's a lyric in the song. He's got a recipe for anus ankle soup.
What is it? What's in the rest? What is in it?
Dirty Frank, anus and ankles, anuses and ankles.
What's in it?
Some celery. I don't know.
Sure. Got it. Go on. Go on.
Turmeric, perhaps. But,
Sure.
but it was a really special time. It's like we had the cheapest bus in the world and a bus driver who, I mean, I remember one night we had to drive all night and I woke up and the bus driver was asleep. And I was like, what the? We have to get there the next day. And our tour manager said, Frank, what are you doing? And Frank said, there was black ice. I'm waiting for it to melt. At the end of the tour, we found a bunch of small bottles of booze underneath his seat. So we figured out.
Right.
Okay.
Were the bands hanging out? Were you hanging out with each other? Were you hanging out with Kurt and whatever?
It was great. Yeah, we were all really friendly and great. And Kurt and I had the first time we met. I was coming off stage, which was no time to fuck with me back then because, I put everything into it and most of what I put into it was a good time, but I was a violent drummer.
Yeah.
And Kurt was walking up the stairs to the stage and I said, enjoy your, it was a big show. I mean, by this point we started with the Peppers at like 5,000, 2,500, then 5,000, then 7,000. Then we were playing, 10,000. And then with the shows with Nirvana, it was like San Diego Del Mar Pavilion and the Cow Palace on New Year's Eve, 25,000 people. It was like all of a sudden shit was huge. Yeah. And I mean, Jimmy Chamberlain and I used to get shit because we were the only people in our bands that smoked cigarettes. So when I would come off stage, he would have a cigarette for me and we'd sneak off and but we all got close and friendly and the crews were incredible. That was home to me. I mean, when Rat Sound, I've got a tattoo on my ankle of a rat that I got with Carrie. We were sitting on the ski slope where Stevie Ray Vaughan's helicopter crashed and Guy Atchison was free-forming two rats on our ankles. And, so we bonded that way. I mean, if you could ride with the crew in their bus, fuck the band, it was like, that's how all the drummers were. That's how Chad was.
Yeah.
We were there helping them load out instead of sitting around waiting for the bus to leave,
Right.
And, and then 11 came out after the Peppers. 11 came out. So Jack was there and Alan and Natasha were like family to me. And, the road was really friendly and we were all doing good things, nobody was fucking strung out on drugs. Everybody was healthy. The money hadn't poisoned anybody. There wasn't money yet. We were all working toward, you sell 1 million records, you're not going to get any of that money for 8-9 months,
Yeah.
So we were working towards, we were making good t-shirt money,
Yeah.
That's what bought my first house were Pearl Jam t-shirts.
There you go.
But yeah, we got along great. And I'm coming off and I said, Kurt, have a great show. And he looked at me and he went, and then he bumped his shoulder into me and I grabbed him and I pulled back and he went like that. And our tour manager grabbed me and it was just, it was on, but that's how I got psyched before a show. I would put my laminate in my thing and I'd go outside and talk to the kids and stuff. And then I would just walk in and some burly security guy would be like, hey, you can. I'd be like, fuck you. And he'd be like, fuck you. And we just, blah, 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 blah. And then I'd go, ha, I own you. That was such a dickhead move. But it's what allowed me to play through the torn tendons. And at that point, what I felt was like a band that was disjointed. There were times where we went on stage and one of the band members was missing, because we weren't like this.
Yeah.
And then there was a show in Milwaukee in the winter on that tour where I just said, fuck it, I can't stand it anymore, because band's my family. And I didn't understand how business bands worked, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
And so I said, fuck this. And I grabbed my bag off the bus and I was wearing my wet gig clothes and I started walking through a foot of snow through the arena parking lot. Like, fuck it, I quit. Doing it. And then all of a sudden I'm like, God damn, it's cold.
She went
I got
back.
no fucking money in my pocket. What am I doing? So I went back in and I said to our tour manager, Eric, I said, Eric, I need to talk to everybody. So next thing you know, I go into the dressing room and everybody's in there and they're all giving me shit because, you know, you're always asking how we're doing and, you know, you're always happy and blah, 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 blah. So that ended with me saying, okay, well, can we at least meet 15 minutes before we go on stage and, like, you know, say hello? And
sure.
so that started that. And, you know, I mean, we were all going through things in our own way. You know, it's not anything that, you know, none of these stories define who the people were because we were all adjusting to this crazy new life where all of a sudden, you know, you're all band and crew living in a bus together and traveling the country, then traveling the world, then people asking for things, and then people want to know what your thoughts are on politics. And it's like, how the fuck do I, you know, like I'm reading the paper, I can't even light a lighter, my hands are so fucked up. So
that's interesting.
Like that, we became tight, and it was really funny because even years later.
Do you mean tight as a band or tight as a friends?
As a unit, tight as well, the band was always tight. We never rehearsed. We were always tight. But as far as the inner workings of all the people in various bands, you know,
right,
like Anthony Kiedis and I never really bonded. We never hung out because we were different people. But Chad and I did, and John and I did, and with the Pumpkins, you know. Jimmy and I got along great. Darcy and I trashed a couple of backstage rooms together. She was a hoot.
Rock and roll.
Yeah, and we had fun. It was a lot of fun. And Kurt, funnily enough, we played Roskilde Festival together. It was when everything blew up, and it was our Pearl Jam. It was Pearl Jam and Nirvana, 250,000 people. And this was like new, you know, that we had still a year earlier we were playing clubs, you know.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm still setting up my own fucking drums. You know what I mean?
Right. This is like 92, I guess. 92.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, 92. I think the beginning of 92. I think it might have been our first festival season over there, where we went over and we played like Rock am Ring and Pink Pop was the first big show that we did. But then the next time we went back, we were doing, you know, like Finsbury Park and with the Cult.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. Do you remember the Finsbury Park gig? Some of our listeners were talking about it on our Facebook page recently.
Oh,
do you remember
hell
that?
yeah. I remember
the Cult.
It was amazing because it was really the first time that we were kind of the new big guys on the block. You know, it was like all of a sudden there were people at the hotel, and if you stuck your head to the window on the 8th floor, the whole street went, yay! Wow, things have changed, you know. But there were the bands like Four Non Blondes and some other bands, and the way they were talking to us was like they were looking at us like we were the successful bands, and they were honored to be playing with us. I'm still looking at like fucking here's, you know, my friend Barney was playing bass for the Cult, so luckily I knew him. But here's Billy Duffy and Ian and these guys. It's like I'm looking at those. Holy shit! I can't believe we're playing with the Cult, you know.
Yeah.
And so it was an amazing dynamic because of the success and how fast it happened. But then, like Roskilde, we get there and there's Courtney pregnant and Kurt and I hear her say, I don't want any of these motherfucking Pearl Jam guys on my husband's stage. And then she saw me and she goes, except Dave. Mike's okay too. Okay. So, you know, I mean, there were a lot of really amazing, funny times. I mean, like the MTV Awards, you know, Chad asked me to come play. And so I'm like playing behind his drum kit with him, you know, and it's shit like that. That was just
right.
Those things happened while we were on tour. It's like we were touring and playing every, we toured really hard. And then all of a sudden we get on a plane, get off, and we're playing the MTV Awards and winning all these things, and then going back onto our bus and going right back to playing shows. So it wasn't, it was like, and we didn't have any coaching or, our manager
media
wasn't
training.
one that explained to us how things worked or anything, I mean, every dime we spent as a band, if we spent $1, everybody in the band pitched in 20 cents. If we made $1, everybody in the band got 20 cents. I mean, that's how we did it. And our manager, his job was to say, this is what they want you to do. Do you want to do it? And we'd say no. And he'd have to figure out how to politely get us out of it,
Yeah.
It wasn't like we had a manager that was like when I was working with Guns N' Roses years later, a manager that was more aligned with the record company than the band he was taking care of.
Right. So they were protecting you. Yeah.
We weren't a big machine yet.
Like you say, at the end of that tour, you were fucking massive, and it was, it completely exploded. So, I mean, how much pressure did you feel to make verses?
None. None. No, I was excited because it was like, Stone had ideas, and I already understood how, and back then, the jam element of the band worked. I mean, we made shit up. We played shit different all the time. I mean, we fed off each other. Stone would start playing something, or I'd start playing something. Eddie'd start singing, and we would commit in front of a festival crowd. Freeform Jazz Odyssey in front of a festival crowd. But so we went in. The weirdest thing was just not being on the road. Like going down to the rehearsal space, and then all of a sudden the dynamics, and we were starting to get a little bit of money. So it was like the dynamic shift there where we didn't need each other as much because we could afford to go do what we wanted. And sometimes hanging out with that guy isn't what I wanted to do, Yeah. So it became more, that kind of thing. And again, we didn't have a manager, or my relationship with the manager wasn't one where he was looking out for me or looking out for us. And there wasn't any, it was Seattle. No one could admit that they were feeling this or that or the other thing. You just kept your head down and let your hair get wet and kept
why is that like a bloke thing, or is that like trying to be cool? No,
it's a seasonal affective disorder thing is what it is. Living in a city that's so gray that, I mean, most of the year people are looking down. And people are, they have their close-knit cliques, but everybody's borderline depressed or anxious because of the weather. And so it just, people tended to be more introverted. I mean, when the sun came out, it was like everyone was free, but unless there were drugs involved, and this is just from a perspective, and how a lot of the relationships that were thick as thieves when I got there, they were formed because all these guys were doing drugs together. I mean, it wasn't because they were all, running around or this or that. It was all inside,
Sure.
So
I get that.
They
we
were
grew up in England. We get the grey sky shit.
Almost close friend's death, So that's what formed the relationships was sorrow. And so it, and plus the relationships were based around the music, because again, just like I was, you'd be with your bros and you'd be in that car listening to that music. And it wasn't about discussing how you felt or what you wanted or who you were or who you weren't. It was about, wow, this is great. Yeah, this is great.
Sure.
So but it was an interesting dynamic. Stone and I would show up, he'd have a riff, and I would watch the way he moved, and I would just start playing, and if he changed the way he moved, I would keep looking to get him back to where he was when he started.
Wow.
And then the guys would come in, and if it struck somebody right, they'd start playing, and somebody else, and if Eddie started syllabalizing over it, then it was inevitable it would be a song. I mean, we went into the Galleria Potato Head basement and just started woodshedding like that and coming up with ideas and not really finishing them because we wanted to get into the studio and finish them then, you know? And so when we got in the studio, I mean, there were songs that, I mean, there's a lot of things on the Versus record that, like, I was tracking and did something, and it was the first time I did it, and that's the way it was on the record. You know, I mean, it's just like there wasn't anything that was really formed out. I was recording our rehearsals and going home and meticulously looking at, okay, how can I go from this section to this section without it being abrupt or without it being, you know, something that somebody's already, you know, how can I dynamically move these? You know, I was putting a lot of thought into the arrangements and stuff. But when we get back together, it was still loose until we got in the studio. And that's when, you know, 10 in the morning we would start. And a lot of times by 6 in the evening, we'd eat dinner and then we'd go in and listen to the mix. Nice. It's that quick, you know?
Yeah.
Wow. So that record was really natural. And I'd say it was incredibly easy to make.
Wow.
Maybe not so much for Eddie because his lyrics are so important to him that, you know, which, you know, made sense. But, and he didn't have them all finished when we got there. So, but and also because we paid for that ourselves, we just disappeared. We paid off the record company and we had a handshake deal. They had no say in who produced us. They had no say in where we recorded or what our sound was. We were the biggest band they had. And all of a sudden they were calling our manager and asking where we were. And he was saying, I don't know. And meanwhile, we were making our sophomore record.
There you go.
And it was done. Great. It was done when we called the label and said, "Hey, you want to come hear the record?"
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah,
I think you're credited as a main songwriter on "Go," the opening track. Can you tell us about that? The urgency for that track, man. It's great.
I haven't seen how it looks. I mean, when those albums came out first, I was credited as being a songwriter on every song.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know how.
I think you all are, but I think you're regarded as the main songwriter on Go. I think, but
yeah. Well, the thing was with that, it was like Stone had said we were filling out copyright forms and all that, and you know, I said, well, that's not my song. You know, I had an idea and I brought it and it inspired you guys, and then all of us turned it into this thing. When I first wrote the riff, it was on an acoustic guitar, and it was it was a stomp. It was like an old Zeppelin stomp, and Stone had got a new amp, and I got there early, and I turned it off on standby and grabbed his guitar, and I was like, and then you know, Stone and Mike and Jeff were like, "Oh, that's fucking cool!" And then next thing you know, it was a heavy song, and
then propulsive energy to it. That track, man, it's so good.
Yeah, and it was really, it was the energy of it was really inspired by the sounds and the attitude and working with Brendan O'Brien, such an exceptionally integral and perfect producer for that second record because he didn't press us. He knew how to allow us to be ourselves, and all he did was keep us on track, you know? And when he discovered that the best way to work was to just let it rip, he just let it rip. And he works so fast. Like I said, there were songs where I recorded the drum part in the morning, and by the time he'd come, we'd all sit and have dinner, and afterwards we'd go in and listen to the mix. It's just that. I mean, that's pretty fucking amazing, you know?
That's great.
Yeah.
That's a good turnaround.
Yeah.
Are there any tracks on that album that's your favorite to drum on?
Well, you know, the whole album, each song has a different story as to how I approached the arrangements and the songs, and you know, like a song like Daughter, it was pretty flushed out when we got into the studio, and if you listen to the way I played it live, like on a bootleg, and you listen to the album, they're two completely different things, but subtly. But the live version is how I approached it first. But then when we got in the studio, I just thought, you know what? Just because, let's take my old Ludwig kit, just a kick drum and a floor tom, one cymbal, one ride, and one splash cymbal, and tracked it that way. So it was totally different than what I'd been playing to it. And the same thing happened with Rats. It was a kick drum, a floor tom, you know, two cymbals and hi-hats and a splash cymbal. And, you know, out in the big room, I had my big kit with all the cymbals and shit. And like the song, like Animal, at dinner the night before, Brendan mentioned that he really hated Chinese cymbals. He hates China cymbals. So the next morning, being that the kind of self-centered, you know, rock star asshole I was at the time, I just set up 10 China cymbals.
It had to be done, really, though. You know? It had to be.
Yeah, I mean, that's just kind of the way we did things. But it was really cool. And you know, I'd say playing live, you know, Daughter, I love playing because the outro sometimes would go on for 5-10 minutes and it would just be a jam. And, you know, I love playing Glorified G because there was, you know, I used to go see Rush play live, and there were fills that Neil did that I thought was so fucking cool. And when he would do them live, it was just like, yes. And, you know, that song Glorified G had that one little middle section where it was like, you know, I got to do, I knew, and I would find that person in the audience that was air drumming the whole show, and I would wait. And at that part, I'd look, and they would inevitably look up to see me do that one really cool thing that they liked, and I'd be looking at them, you know, and just things like that.
Yeah, really I like that
interplay.
Yeah.
That was fun. Yeah. But I love playing them all, except for Leash. I never really liked playing that one. I didn't like that song much.
Right.
All right, that's fair. Can we ask about the MTV Music Awards that you did with Neil Young in '93? Were you playing that? Yeah, it's a legendary performance. Basically, we were watching it.
We talk about that a lot.
We talk about it a lot on the podcast. We do. What can you remember about that?
Everything. I remember everything about all of it, man. That's one thing I paid attention. I remember. I don't know how many stories you want, but I remember my drum check. First of all, when we were standing outside getting ready to play, no sound check or anything. We weren't that kind of band. We were like, fuck the band, you know.
Yeah.
And Eddie wanted to play like Sonic Reducer or some song that I didn't like.
It's a great song, but yeah, go on.
Yeah, but for me it was like, look, what the fuck, we're at the MTV Awards, we're trying to, you know, it's like, why, you know, that was more for Eddie's punk rock cred than it was for our fans that were, you know, paying for my house, you know? And so the dynamic was kind of, and my drum tech Jimmy, to push me into gear, like I said, I used to, you know, get in those little scuffles with those huge security guards to pump me up to play, or I'd get in the pit and watch 11. Jimmy looked at me, and right before the lights came on, you know, they were at commercial, and, you know, we're all behind our instruments on the stage. He looked at me and he said, I bet you can't break them all.
All right.
He was talking about my cymbals.
Challenge accepted.
Sure.
And I said, all right. And so that, I mean, I beat the shit out of my drum set for that song Animal. And you know, and what kind of helped me too was, I mean, being a drummer, you're like a catcher on the team. I could tell that Eddie was doing his Eddie thing, whatever that was at the time. But at that particular time, there was no energy. It was almost like he was sulking, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Was that like the persona? Was that like the grunge kind of persona thing?
Well, it wasn't his, but all of a sudden, you know, it was like he was going through this phase where whatever, you know, and I told him at the beginning, I don't care, you know, what you do as long as you don't do it to me, because I know who you are, you know.
Yeah.
But when I saw that from where I was, you know, I'm moving around and I'm busy, but I see everything. If somebody turns around, our eyes meet. You know, that's my job.
Mm.
I mean, and just like playing with Neil, he understood how a rock band works. When he wanted something to go to the next phrase, he would look at me and know that I was going to get it there. You know, like the ending of that jam with him, there was no plans on how.
Oh, that's fucking insane.
Oh, really?
He just looked at me, and him and I decided what we were going to do. And
wow,
and it was so cool because he knew how to let a band be driven by the drums. He wasn't trying to get me to follow him. He was just making sure we were together, and he relied on me to take, you know, to bring us into the next part because he was ready to go there, you know? And so I learned a lot from Neil, but, yeah, I just remember that night was bombastic and fun as shit. And I mean, you have to also realize that it may sound one way on TV, but there, yeah, I couldn't hear the guitars. I couldn't hear Eddie singing.
Yeah.
You know, the volume sounded loud, but there was no, my drums. It's like setting a drum set up in a 12,000 seat auditorium. And you know, here it was my monitor rig with rack sound was 124 dB at my ears. When I hit my bass drum, it was like somebody, you know, shot a cannon. When I hit my snare, every hit it was like a shotgun going off, you know.
Oh,
but at that,
incredible.
at Saturday Night Live and at even those big festivals, you know, I'm there with one little wedge, and it's like all I hear is
sure.
So yeah, it's a trip. But I just remember at that point knowing that if I did my job and put everything I could into it, I could rely on the band to be there just as much as they could rely on if somebody missed a cue that I would catch it. You know, we were a good band. So
I mean that performance, like everyone was just on top of their game. It's just an incredible
you know, same with Unplugged. I couldn't hear shit.
Yes,
I couldn't hear nobody.
Oh, really?
You know?
Okay.
Yeah, no. No, the speakers were in the round, and they were like this big.
Yeah.
You know, no, all I had in my monitor, a little bit of Stone, and I could hear Eddie singing.
Yeah,
without the mic, like I could hear his voice coming out of
right.
You know?
Just
yeah.
So it's a trip.
Can I ask, what was the impact of Kurt's death on the band and on the whole scene, basically?
You know, it came at the worst possible times. Because everybody was going through their stuff. You know, money had started to arrive. And everyone was kind of splintering a little bit. You know, if you notice back at those times, all of a sudden, you know, Stone was a high maintenance guy. He had really nice hair. He took really good care of it. You know, he had his wardrobe, you know what I mean? And all of a sudden he shaved his head. And all of a sudden, you know, and Jeff, you know, he just everybody all of a sudden started. I mean, we all knew that we weren't going to have to get day jobs, I guess it's what happened. You know?
Right.
And so we were a little more and more, we were becoming disjointed because we didn't need each other in the same way that perhaps we did when we were struggling, you know?
Sure.
And at that point, you know, Eddie had his thing, you know, he had perfected the, you know, I don't want to be on the cover of magazines while he was doing a cover story on a magazine, you know, that kind of thing.
I mean, was that hypocritical, do you think?
Only in, you know, not to a business mind, because it worked.
Right.
But, you know,
you
know, when he would refer to me as the drummer rather than Dave.
Ooh.
You know,
in an interview, that's
just period. You know, it's like you know, there's a song we wrote together right after I joined the band, and we were at a bridge school benefit, and he said we made a deal with our drummer that we would, since he couldn't bring his kit, that we'd let him play this. You know, and it's just like, You know, and in real life,
let him. That's pretty. Yeah.
In real life, it's like, hey, you dick, you know.
Yeah.
But in front of 15,000, 20,000 people, it's
Yeah.
Yeah.
You little fucker. But and I got big wrists, you know. Got big wrists. You know, I'm not shorter than Eddie.
No.
But but I love Eddie. I love all those guys still to this day. I mean, there's a huge part of my heart that values and misses, you know, and respects those guys. Some in some ways more than others, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, that show. Yeah, that show was incredible. You know, that show, the Unplugged, was incredible. All those things, because it was so bizarre to look back on it. Because I think of it now, it's like somebody said tomorrow I was going to go play on the MTV Awards show. I'd be like, holy shit. You know, but back then it wasn't. It was just like, okay, Jimmy, make sure you got my kick drum pedal.
Just Tuesday, yeah. Going back to Kurt then. So, I mean, I'm sorry. My fault for diverting.
I remember we were all sitting on the edge of the stage, and our manager said he had something that he needed to tell us. And when he told us what happened, it was just like, you know, because we had went through our thing, you know, Nirvana and Pearl Jam. The press had made this little, you know, and I had a shirt made that said, "Where's the bandwagon?" Because, you know, Kurt made a comment about bandwagon. You know, it was like shit like that.
Yeah.
But there wasn't any real animosity. I mean,
no.
When we saw each other, you know, Dave and I got along. Everyone, we were all rooting for each other the whole time. You know, we all really appreciated and respected. And when we did shows together and saw how hard they worked, and they saw that we worked hard too, the dynamic shifted. But it was still an angle for the press. You know, it was still you know, what can you do? Everybody get along? No, how about that? So So we kind of played with it, you know. It was a joke. It was a running joke. And when we found out it was just like surreal. And you know, and it was around the same time we found out that Magic Johnson had AIDS. And it was like, what the fuck's going on with the world, you know? It was just, you know, and we were on tour, and, you know, when you're putting out that much energy physically and emotionally and getting so much back, and then having to go in the bus and decompress and wake up, and do it again the next day. And, you know, the ups and downs, not that the downs are low, and it's just that they're so sharp. You know, it's like walking off a stage to, you know, an unbelievable amount of energy, and walking backstage where all of a sudden you don't even hear it. And then when you change your clothes and come out, the place is empty except for a couple thousand pairs of shoes being swept into a pile, you know?
Weird experience,
And we weren't a band. We didn't do drugs, and we didn't do girls, and we didn't, because we were working too fucking hard. You know, it was like, there was I came off stage, I had to lay over a barrel with my arms dangling in ice for half an hour, you know, just so I could be able to do it the next day, you know.
So you weren't involved in all the heroin and stuff that was all over the scene. You weren't involved in any of that.
No. And it wasn't really all over the scene. It was all over the hometown. You know, as far as the guys who were having problems with it, it wasn't really spoke about because no one knew what to do about it, you know. You know, and so it wasn't until after problems happened that then it was like, oh shit, that just sucks. But you know, like Shannon Hoon, lovely guy, you know, he and I and you know, I mean, I met his mom on Mother's Day. It's a great story, but I won't get it. But we became good friends, and you know, I didn't even see it coming with Shannon. You know, it was just like one of those things, like, what happened? What, you know? And the thing with Kurt was just like, I mean, suicide's a different thing. You can justify an overdose or something like that in a weird way in your heart as a mistake.
Sure.
As
like Shannon, right?
I wish I could have been there to this, or I wish somebody would have blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But when it comes to someone taking their own life, it's different. And also at the same time, there was so much like disbelief, like he wouldn't have done that, and then it turned into, well, did he really do that? I mean, there was that.
Right.
So all of a sudden, and you couldn't voice your opinion about that either, because you didn't want to say, hey, it make more sense that this is what happened, because somebody else might say, no, it doesn't, and you'll be ostracized. So everyone's again, it was an introverted community, so so it created a really dark place, as well as, I mean, it brought up the ghosts of the past for a lot of people, because we'd all lost people to ODs and we'd all lost people to different things. So, all of a sudden here we were working harder than we'd ever worked in our lives but past the point where our dreams had come true. Now we were having to change. Now it was real, now it was like the part of the shift that we couldn't imagine was where we were at, and that was the work, and a lot of work, and the physical toll and all those things. And so, it was, and again, management that wasn't there saying the right things, or even suggesting that if you want to talk to somebody, it was just like basically like
it was the 90s, none of that. Yeah.
I mean, when I got fired from the band, I got
let's talk about that. So
saved my life.
Oh, really? That's good. So you were asked to leave pretty soon after
asked to leave.
Actually asked to leave.
No, I was told.
How would you put it then? How would you put it?
Here's how it was. I walked in, I was talking to my manager, who, my family. He was in a car with Eddie, and they're on their way to deal with Eddie's debacle, where I guess he slugged somebody, sorta, or whatever, in New Orleans. So they were going to a court case. They were on their way to the airport, and I just called to say, hey, man, good luck, Ed, and travel safe. See you when you get back. This is the first time we'd had any time off. And he was kind of weird. And then I was hanging up, and I heard my manager say, oh, Dave. So I picked the phone back up. I said, yeah. And he said, Stone wants to talk to you. Give him a call. I said, okay. And I thought what he wanted to talk about, because he and I had spoken about the possibility of our next record being a departure from such a guitar thing and more of a rhythmic, taking it somewhere else. And I mean, and I had mentioned maybe we could work with Daniel Lanois or somebody that was like a little bit more avant, where Brendan facilitated what we did and helped us focus, but Daniel would have made us think a little bit out of the box sonically and everything else. So I was kind of thinking, okay, maybe that's what we want to talk about. So I called him up, and he said, let's get together for breakfast tomorrow. I was like, okay, great. So I showed up at the breakfast place. He was already there. I came in, I sat down, and he leaned forward and he said, Dave Abbruzzese. And I said, hey. And he said, we're looking for another drummer.
Right.
That was it. And
that was it.
Huh? I didn't even ask a question. It was just, I was like, And then we spent the next few hours kind of nurturing each other. It was very emotional.
Yeah.
I'll always salute him for having the courtesy and the balls and the respect to do it, because
that's
find out Eddie wanted to have the manager do it, or no, Eddie wanted to have the lawyer do it.
A lawyer's even worse. Oh God.
I mean, the night before I talked to the manager, he didn't tell me to prepare myself for a life-changing event. He just told me, I think Stone wants to talk to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was
pretty fucked.
It was really fucked. And and it was emotional, and I never really got a reason. At that point, the closest thing I got to a reason was that there had to be some sort of change, and I was the youngest, newest guy in the band, so that's what. And I was like, what the fuck? And here I mean, to me, I mean, I knew how many times I messed up. I could count on one hand in all those years. I knew how much I put my body through, and I knew how committed I was. And I also knew that the music that we were making was special.
Yeah.
And to me, it was like, how in the what reason is there that's so big that it's necessary to destroy what we got, And I never got an answer for that. And that's,
what do you think it is? What would you speculate?
Well, the closest thing I got was that if it wouldn't have worked, me driving the band as hard as I did in the verses, the Trip 10 and versus tours, then it probably would have happened earlier. I don't think that the band that we became when I joined the band was the band that Eddie wanted to be.
Right.
Okay.
That hard rock, hard driven.
Yeah.
But it suited where we were because he had the ability and the skill to perform at that level and do that crazy shit that we needed to do to get our name out there. Because the record label wasn't supporting us. We'd play a show with the Chili Peppers. The next day, the kids wanted our record. MTV wouldn't touch us. Radio wouldn't touch us. But when we went to town, the next time we came back, there was twice as many people. And then it reached a point where we were selling more T-shirts than the Chili Peppers were. And so it was like you couldn't change the formula at that point. But by the end of the Versus tour, we already had 9/10 of the Vitalogy album in the can, just waiting to be mixed. And Eddie wanted to take time off and get married. And I think it was just, he decided that was, that we'd gotten enough success and the reins were pulled back on the Vitalogy record enough for the band to then make the record with Neil and then turn into kind of the playing with tambourines kind of fucking band that they are now,
Okay.
Sure.
I still would love to fucking get on stage and tour or play a show or whatever with them.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Just because I still play the same way I always have, and I think it would just kick them in the ass.
Sure.
Yeah, it'd be good to see it.
So, what did you do immediately after? What happened? What's the next part of the story?
Well, I got in my car.
Okay.
There's a sad little moment. Stone and I, on the day that we spent together when I came up for the audition, I had like $6 in my pocket, and there was a guy selling paracord bracelets, and they were $3 each. And he said, he'd give us 2 for $5. So I bought one for me and one for Stone. And he bought an army green one, and I bought a black one. And if you look at any of the old Pearl Jam pictures, you'll see those things on.
Wow.
Well, mine, from all the cortisone shots and braces and duct tape keeping my hand on my arm and all the ice baths and everything, mine had become pretty tattered, but his not so much. And we were sitting in this area, and it was the area where we had bought them. It was after he had fired me, and we were sitting together, and it was really emotional for both of us. And I looked down, and he was like, had his finger under his thing, and I looked down at mine, and he looked at, and we both flashed back to that day those years earlier. And as we did, mine just went poof.
Man,
fell off. And man, it was like
that's symbolic.
It was like Sob City.
Yeah,
both of us felt, and it was really heavy.
That's beautiful.
And so we got in our cars, and that was that. And I remember sitting in my car, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I called my friends on the other side of the world, and I said, yo, I just got fired from the band. And he said, this is after me pulling myself together, And he said, good. you'd have never quit that fucking band anyway.
And is he right?
There you go.
Do you think you probably wouldn't have done?
Yeah, I wouldn't have. Hell no, no. The bands were, the music were too important. It came too easy, and what we were doing was really special. And I really felt like, you know, I mean, that band had the potential to reinvent itself in such a way over the course of the last 30 years.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like they did. I don't feel like they did. I mean, their albums, to me, what little I've heard, and this isn't a knock on them or whatever, they just sound like they're unfinished ideas.
Sure. You know? Sure. Yeah.
And fair comment.
And it's so I mean, even to the point of like bringing in other producers that are writers and players. It's like, how in the fuck can there be a band with someone as talented as Stone Gossard, as creative as Jeff Ament, as fluid as Mike McCready, and as brilliant as Eddie? How can there be a need for someone to bring in an idea? It made no sense to me whatsoever. Mm-hmm. And that's what made me think they lost the plot at some point. You know, they stopped being the band that I was in, and and it made sense. I mean, the crew that we had was so amazing, and the whole system was so family oriented. And I remember when I got fired and I was reconnecting with, it was like people that I would hug every day had a hard time looking me in the face because they didn't know. And people that felt so secure about being a part of this family that was doing amazing things, all of a sudden worried that if I was expendable, they were too. So everything.
Right. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they started playing stadiums and all the crew left, and you know, then they had a dozen accountants and different this, and it just turned into the big machine, you know.
Different beasts. Yeah.
So I went home and went, what the fuck? And spent a couple years trying to negotiate the settlement agreement. And I ran into Mike one time. I was working with some guys in Texas, working out the Soul Poisoning, because I didn't know if I wanted to play anymore. And I went down and got with Dave Castell, that producer, and people that I'd always wanted to play with. And we just started making music. And it was just like, wow, this is the best. And so I rented this 7,000 square foot house on a 600-acre cow pasture, and we all moved in for a year and just recorded and wrote music, and that was the Green Romance Orchestra, and that's where I got, it was like the Soul Poisoning came out, and through that also then the conversations with Axl about working with Guns N' Roses.
Yeah, so was that like an early version of Chinese Democracy that you were playing on?
Sort of, yeah. I mean, it's a strange thing because it was, we had the same lawyer, and, well, first I had a lawyer that wanted me to ask for the world and said I was entitled to all these things from Pearl Jam. And I never really felt comfortable about it, but she was talking about the goodwill and my ownership of the name and all this stuff. And, then all of a sudden she got a job making a few mil a year working for Pearl Jam's record company. Right. So then and that was after spending a fortune in a year in this process. So then I got a different lawyer who was a lot more compassionate and allowed me to be like, I don't really, because I was a mess from all that. I went from being this kid who we talked about earlier, listening to music, playing drum, blah, 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 to all of a sudden owning a house and having accountants and all this shit. And I mean, up to that point, I never paid taxes. I never even worked. I just fucking bottom and bong hits and fucking rock and roll and and so all of a sudden I was supposed to understand how to negotiate this minefield of legalities and as well as people that love to kick you when you're down and all this kind of stuff. And so the Axl, the Axl and I had the same attorney, and she told me one day, it's like, Axl wants to know if you'd like to see about working with the band and this and that. And come to find out, he was, I guess, he had a a spiritual advisor that he was, showing pictures to over the course of years. And the guy was like, no, it's not the right time. And then all of a sudden it was the right time.
Sure.
But so I
don't think I even want to know what that is, but go on.
Yeah, well, actually, he's the same guy that was flying over the stadiums in helicopters, telling them to take 2 more hours before they hit the stadium.
Oh, really?
The vibe wasn't right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
But he, so I was put in touch, and it was the kind of thing where it's like, okay, well, you talk to the manager talks to Axl talks to the manager, then the manager, then blah, blah, blah. And I talked to the manager and I said, look, the big machine kind of ate me up and spat me out, and I really don't trust management. And it's really important to me that I can, otherwise I'm not interested. And so I demanded that I get Axl's number and just call him up and say, hey, and talk and see what the fuck. I didn't give a, to me, it's like, okay, if we make money, pay me some. I didn't need it. I don't care. I just want to play.
Yeah.
And I wasn't, I wasn't really a big fan of Guns N' Roses. I respected what they were doing, but whatever. To me, the record was was well produced, but it was Izzy's record, and whenever I saw those guys out on tour and stuff, they were great. Duff was great. They were great guys to hang out with, but to me, it's that value fuck of like, wow, here's these guys who are on top of the world, and they're so fucked up, they're not even going to remember it.
Yeah.
And so it was weird. But then when I called Axl's house and his assistant answered, and she said hello, and I said, hey, it's Dave Abbruzzese calling for Axl. And she was just like silent. And I was like and excuse me, and she's okay, hold on a minute. Quite a few minutes passed, and then Axl gets on the phone. He's like, why are you calling me here? How'd you get this number? I said, hey, man, blah, 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 blah. And so we talked for hours, and then we ended up, he said something to me that was that he wanted Guns N' Roses to be bigger than they ever were before. And this was without Slash. And this was, And I thought, okay, motherfucker, that is a challenge.
Yeah.
And that I'm interested in trying to achieve that, And at the time, I mean, we talked for months before I even went to LA and saw him in person. We talked on the phone for hours, quite a few times a week, all the time. And the Axl that I got to know, I really liked Axl. I love the guy. I cared deeply about him. I enjoyed the conversations. He was funny, but there was a dominant feeling of not insecurity. He's very secure, but distrust. And
of other people.
Well, I think there were people that sowed those seeds of distrust in him, and then the drugs and alcohol that were going on in the band. It was like people who said, look, they're going to say I'm full of shit, and that's when they're full of shit. You know what I mean? Those kind of shady folks. And it ended up blowing up, and Axl and Matt Sorum got fired, and Slash stopped showing up, and it was like this thing. And so all of a sudden, here we were, and it was Chris Frenna, from the drummer from Nine Inch Nails, and Robin Fink, the guitarist from Nine Inch Nails, and Duff, and Dizzy, and Paul, who was a friend of Axl's. That was the band that I went into. 2 drummers and this and that. And I mean, the first time I met Axl, we were all first thing, I walk into this huge rehearsal space with Marshall stacks everywhere. There's a big stage. It's like, this is where we're writing. It's like, fuck, I'm used to being in a 7-foot ceiling basement with program guys, and a full crew and all this. And Axl was showing up, which he hadn't done before. So there was a new excitement to it. And he had made a statement to me about, it's like, it's his band. He owns the name and it's his vision, but he wants to be able, it's like he's the captain of the ship was the analogy, but he wants to be able to go below deck and know that the ship's still on course. And when he presented that to me, like he wanted me to be that guy. I was blown away and excited. And then when I started listening to the music that was being made, and when I started hearing the sound that was coming in out of that room when we were all playing together, you know, the idea was 2 drummers, electric and acoustic. And then when we played the old Guns N' Roses shit, I'd be playing, and you know, it was like, so there was stuff going on. And then Billy from Perfect Circle was building Axl's guitar rig, which was like, holy shit, the most monstrous. Yeah, and Axl didn't even play guitar, but that's where we were headed, you know?
Right.
And and it was really exciting, and yeah, there was a lot of work ahead, but the music that I was hearing and the attitude of it, to me, wasn't Guns N' Roses, you know? But it was gonna be great. And so I approached the manager and I said, hey, you know, what about the idea of just Axl doing an Axl thing? You know?
Well, and this being something separate, right?
Yeah. Instead of it being Guns N' Roses, which is the band, and now Slash, what about it being Axl's thing?
Sure.
And management told me, they said, here's the deal. We're going to let Axl do his thing. We're going to put out the record. And when it doesn't do well, then that we're hoping is the motivation for him to then get Slash back. And that's your end, Dave.
Oh, that's.
And so it was like, he was like saying, look, we're not, you know, just do whatever. Who cares?
Yeah, that's not good. Yeah.
We're hoping, you know, the record label is banking on this being what motivates Axl to bring Slash back.
Right.
And I just remember my heart just sinking. It was like, fuck, what do I do? Do I tell Axl to become someone that I wanted to, you know, when I was working and thinking about what we were doing, a big part of that was I want this guy to be pleased, and I want him to feel supported and positive, and I want him to keep coming to rehearsals every day, and I want him to know that he, you know, that the people in his band believe in him, you know, and have his back. Because I saw him start to get at ease. I saw him start to, you know, have a smile on his face when he was listening. I saw him starting to become a member of something that I think he wanted, you know? And then all of a sudden I hear this manager say that shit, and I'm like, okay, what do I do? What the fuck do I do? Do I tell Axl that his management and his label are exactly what I was afraid that if I were to tell him what I was told, that he would, I mean, because he was volatile. I mean, he would fly off the handle, tell everyone to go fuck themselves. You know, and just it would have been over. You know, that honesty would have been the end of something that was very special to a lot of people, which is Axl Rose and Guns N' Roses. And so, but I couldn't do it. I couldn't do the other part of it, which was just put my heart and soul into something that I knew was just another shady fucking big machine game that I had already been chewed up and
you'd already done that.
So I decided to quit. I told Axl I couldn't do it, and I think the way I put it is I told him I wanted to be a rock star or a musician first and a rock star second. And
there we go.
And I didn't hear anything from him. And then I got a call from Kim Neely, our friend, a mutual friend at Rolling Stone. And Kim said, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm okay. Why?" "Well, I just got off the phone, 4-hour call from Axl." I was like, "Oh." And then my phone rang and it was Axl. And this is no exaggeration, I answered, I put the phone down on the table, and he screamed obscenities at me for 2 solid hours before he hung up. And that was the end of the Guns N' Roses thing.
There we go. There we go.
And it was,
All right.
and it was always sad to me, you know. I've never shared that story until a year ago. I mentioned it, but you know, because now seeing Guns N' Roses back out, and you know, I know how different I am, and how the last 25 years has affected me as a person and maturing and all this. And I figured that the same must have happened with Axl and his band and his management. So I felt good about finally being able to let the truth know. Let it be known. That's why I backed out of it. You know, I would have loved to stay in it, but you know, I don't have any regrets for anything, even though it was a hell of a contract. Wow.
All right. We've kept you a really, really long time, Dave. We apologize, but we do have one final question, if that's all right. Neil, over to you.
Okay.
Mate.
Yeah, so you were in arguably one of the biggest bands of the 90s, but if you could have been in any other band in the 90s, who would it have been, and why?
Well, I did get to work with some other people in the 90s that you know, like Roger Hodgson from Supertramp. I moved in and spent a year writing and working with him. Most incredible, prolific songwriter, most incredible person and musician I've ever worked with. That was a blessing. But as far as anyone else from the I've worked with everybody I want to work with.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, still to this day, you know, music to me, I love it. I still love it. I feel more connected to it and more compassionate within the framework of it as a human and as a player than I ever have. And physically, I'm you know, my brain still has ideas and my body still pulls them off. So, you know, and I still, whenever I see footage of me playing, I think, wow, I thought I didn't know I hit that hard, you know. So I still feel really good about where everything's at musically. So yeah, you know, if anything, I'm waiting for the day where I go, wow, I guess I'm getting old and it's going to be hard to do this. But that hasn't happened yet. It just hasn't happened.
That's good.
It's good to hear.
Yeah,
it's good to hear.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to let you go. I'm going to stop the recording now. But thank you so much for giving us so much of your time and for the great stories.
It was my pleasure. And I guess it was the perfect night, the perfect setting, and the perfect gin and tonic to tell some stories.
Perfect. Brilliant. All right. Thank you so much.
Very much, guys.
So there we go, Dave from Pearl Jam. Dave from the Stupid and Contagious podcast. Did you enjoy that interview? I picked this up because I already told everyone last week that you've already said that it was one of your favourite interviews. So.
Oh yeah. I think it's the best one. You know, no disrespect to previous guests, but I think for the story content.
Yeah, he's a character, isn't he?
Yeah, the
and he was just a top bloke. He was just so open and funny and cool and
yeah. I mean, we could have chatted to him for hours. I think he was up for it, but yeah, we just had to sort of
Yeah, but even before we started the recording, like he came on to the Zoom and he was like, "Hey, motherfuckers!" like that, like straight away.
He did say, "Hey, motherfuckers."
It was brilliant.
But I think he alluded to at the start that he was going to go snorkeling. I don't know if it was in the interview or not. I can't remember. But just so everyone's aware, he didn't go snorkeling. He was
he didn't make
it by the end. But,
yeah.
But what a guy! What a guy! And I think that's got to be up there with the best locations for an interview so far. Well, it's got to be the best one so far.
Palm trees swaying in the background. It's brilliant.
Quite early on, he painted quite sort of an idyllic sort of scene of that 80s sort of rock, being a teenager in America in the 80s. I think I often think I'd rather have been an 80s teen than a 90s teen. I'm not sure. I'm glad I was a 90s
because of Stranger Things, isn't it?
Still good. Yeah, maybe. But I've always liked the 80s. You what, Dave?
Stranger Things is because you like Stranger Things so much, isn't it?
Well, it might be, but I've just always had a thing for the 80s. I like 80s films and
But
stuff.
80s in England was crap. His like romantic vision of like a teenager in Texas
I'm
sitting
talking
around
about,
getting
like,
stoned
Lost Boys, Santa Monica 80s is what I'm talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
Not in fucking small town England. Yeah.
No. But yeah. But then if we'd have been a teen in the 80s, then you'd be older now. So, you know, you got a way up, haven't you?
That's true.
No,
That's true.
is a good.
But yeah, I'd like to have done that, man. Go up to make out point and all of that shit, man.
Yeah,
Good,
all of that. With fire, you know, sitting by bonfires, listening to music, listening to boom boxes and stuff.
Have parties and have
the
those
90s.
cups that are like red on the outside and white on the inside. Those kind of cups.
Yeah, kegs
all
of
of
beer.
that. Kegs, yeah. Tap a keg.
I'd love to have been a college bro in the 80s.
Oh, you're thinking of it like right, like a frat house style. Yeah, okay. No, that would have been horrible. That would have been
I'd
horrible.
like to try a bit of all of it, but it just would have. It does look like a fun time.
Yeah,
and it looks like he had a fun time. So
yeah,
I've got a lot of no's. I don't know if many are worth going into much.
come on.
But yeah, that eggplant story was quite nasty, wasn't it? You didn't see that coming, did you?
yeah, what is
It was a
an
twist,
eggplant?
wasn't it?
What's an eggplant?
It's an aubergine. It's an
Is
aubergine.
it?
Yeah.
I've always wondered. I knew it was like a different name for a we call it something different, but I couldn't remember what it was. So it's an aubergine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good story.
That was a twist, wasn't it? Yeah, it kind of stopped me in my tracks.
Yeah.
I thought he was telling like a funny story, but it was a really, really serious one.
A lot of his
That's fucked up, though,
anecdotes
isn't
were
it?
like that, weren't they? They were quite funny stories, but with quite a serious sort of, you know.
Yeah,
Like
but
the
it's interesting
guy-
to hear about those
the guy
racial
that he
tensions
played-
back in the day.
Yeah,
man.
that's what I mean. The guy that he was playing, I can't remember the game they were playing.
Pinball, Evil Knievel,
Yeah.
pinball.
That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. it
Just
was.
like-
Do you know?
The
Do you
idea
know why
could be-
eggplants are called eggplants? By the way, do you know why Americans call them eggplants?
No, do you?
Yeah.
But so
Why?
so. Should be a rubbish story.
Well, the
otherwise.
variety of aubergine at the time, they're kind of small and white like an egg, and they look a bit like an egg.
Oh.
That's just a different variety of eggplants that was popular
that it?
back then. Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh. There you go.
there you go.
Who eats aubergines anyway?
Me,
Do you?
yeah.
I hate
I had
them.
aubergine. I had a grilled aubergine with cheese on it the other day.
What's happened to you?
It was not good. It was horrible.
Sounds horrible.
They're slimy
Got to
things,
try
aren't
these things, haven't you? They are a
Have
bit
you?
slimy. Yeah, yeah. You got to try. You don't,
All
then
right.
you know. But yeah, going
Carry
back, yeah,
on.
those racial tensions and stuff. That was interesting to hear about, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he lived in, was it Kentucky? Was it Kentucky? Connecticut.
Texas,
I
Connecticut.
thought it was in Connecticut.
Texas.
Right.
That was at the beginning. Yeah, yeah.
We grew up, it wasn't as bad, was it? But then it was different because he moved to the south.
Yeah,
Completely
Texas.
different racial tensions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, his story of joining Pearl Jam was pretty incredible, right? He said he was ready to hang up his drumsticks and down to his last. He
But
didn't have 60. His phone was cut off and all of that. It's amazing.
that's what I was going to say. It's funny hearing all these stories, isn't it? Of that. It was only the 90s. Well, it's 30 years ago, I guess. Quite a long time now, isn't it? But where you had to physically go
91.
and pay for stuff. You can't do it online. You had to go and walk to places to pay your bills.
I still pay my
Stuff like
bills like that. I don't pay bills online.
Yeah, but you're
Do
a
you?
cunt.
What?
You know, I finally worked out how to
Yeah,
log
of
into
course you
online
pay
banking
stuff
this week. I
online.
just did it this
Don't
week.
pretend you don't
I
use
don't.
any modern technology.
I'm not pretending that, but I pay for bills. Some that I've like direct debit. Other ones I just go and pay at the convenience store.
It's funny, isn't it? Because we think of Japan as
That's
being quite
inconvenient.
modern, but it's actually pretty
It is.
backward.
He's not.
Yeah,
He's got a fucking space toilet.
That's the go. That's the
It's,
important stuff, though, isn't it?
We spoke about this, didn't we, yesterday when we spoke?
We did with the upcoming interview. Yeah. But back to Dave's story. He said he sold his last joint to pay the
But
phone
he
bill.
still had to share it.
That's a good deal. So it didn't really, did he? That's it's good business, isn't it?
It's pretty good.
That's a good. They're good terms, those.
Yeah, and then it was Matt calling to see if he wanted to join Pearl Jam. It's an incredible story.
And he was like, "Who the fuck are Pearl Jam?"
Yeah. Then he listened to him and said they were shit, and the Love Bone were rubbish too. That was so funny. It was great.
Yeah, well, you're not a big fan of Mother Love Bone, are you? So.
I don't dislike them. I just don't.
No.
For me, they're just not enough. Yeah. But he actively disliked them.
He wasn't into that sort of music, was he? He was into the hard rock and stuff. So, yeah, if you listen to that 10, and like he said, it's more like a sort of, did he say it was more sort of a bluesy album? It's not really rock, is it? 10, the songs aren't that heavy on there, are they?
No, but it's not really grunge either, is it? It's
No.
Have you heard it with him playing on it? Like a recording of it?
Well, you'd about to
like
hear
a live.
it live, I
No,
guess. No, I haven't.
no,
I'd like to.
I haven't either. Yeah,
probably should do.
Yeah. He was in the glory period of Pearl Jam, right? It couldn't have been in a better time. Yeah. But I mean, I don't know, and I'll never know. But I think his drumming probably was a big part of them getting so big. Because
well, I think your question was really good, Neil. You said, did your kind of driving them forward help to spur the other people on to?
Well, that's what I mean. He's not hanging off
That's a great question
now, is he? And back then
he's like 50.
Yeah, I know, but
odd years old, isn't he?
I think that was a very brief period where they behaved like that. And I think it probably was because they were a harder band,
right?
Maybe.
Right. Yeah, and he was driving them.
I think he's probably right.
Yeah.
Do you think that annoyed the others then? They didn't feel like they're in control of it.
Well, maybe it wasn't the band they wanted to be in. Maybe they didn't want to be in a hard rock band. That's the thing. That's what he's saying.
Yeah, I don't think they did. I think they probably wanted to strip it back a bit more and be a bit more. He called them playing with tambourines fucking band. Is the exact quote I wrote down. That they are now. Which is fair. It's fair, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're still a great band. But yeah, it's I mean, but you're right as well. They're a bit older, so they're not going to be. It's not going to be the same energy as lads in their sort of 20s. But I think there was an edginess to the band when he played with them. Like, if you go and watch all of those gigs around then and watch that MTV performance and stuff, they were just. But it might have just been they were all just at the top of their game at that period of their lives.
I think the kind of drummer he is. He probably made them way more popular in America.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Than they otherwise would have been, because they just love those kind of rock bands, don't they?
And he said,
and took them into the mainstream.
Yeah, and he said, like, when they were supporting the Chili's, they had to impress their audience. And he said he doesn't know if the old Pearl Jam could have done that, but
right,
because they're a rockier beast. The Chili's went for them and stuff. So,
like he said, if you're the support band, he said you got half an hour or whatever to win them over, and you just bang, 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 yeah.
But I don't know. I think he's a big part of that, but we'll never know for sure, will we? But there's no way of proving either way. But
yeah,
it's funny you said a rock drummer should be a manimal.
Yes,
Manimal.
It's a good word.
But describes.
Remember the TV show
Manimal?
Wasn't he a drummer?
No, you could change into different animals. It was the crappiest CG you've ever seen in your life. I was talking about it a little while ago. I tried to show it to my students, and I checked it on YouTube. It was so bad I couldn't bring myself to show anyone. It was so shit.
I don't think I tore it.
Wasn't it basically like Mary Poppins, like a cartoon drawn onto the film to do the special effects, to do its change?
No, it was just so bad.
That's how
So
they
it was
used to
kind
do
of
it,
it was
innit?
kind of
Yeah.
marketed like Street Hawk and like Knight Rider, that kind of audience it was aiming for. It was at that kind of time on Saturday, and it was so bad. I watched a couple of episodes. They're terrible.
Watched it.
They're terrible. It's good.
But going back to Dave and Pearl Jam, it sounds like what we're talking about then. Like, it sounds like he made the band work for him rather than vice versa. Like he turned it into the band that he wanted to be in, basically, instead of the one that he joined.
But I like that. That's because they're kind of accommodating each other, right? So a lot.
Yeah, I think it worked for everyone.
They'll give each other credit for the songs and stuff like that, which is I think that's really cool.
I mean,
willing to
we
do
haven't
that.
spoken to anyone else in Pearl Jam, so I'd be interested to hear their perspective of Dave joining and how it changed the band.
Yeah. Eddie,
Maybe
if you're listening,
hopefully we get someone else on.
come on,
Find
Stone.
out. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see which members liked that period and which members thought, "Oh, this has gone a bit hard rock for us. We need to bring it back into the middle."
Yeah.
I don't know. Which sounds like that's what happened when they got rid of him. I think they just wanted to.
But this was all, I know, it's all like the stuff with the Ticketmaster and stuff, wasn't it? And they were, again, I said, they were going on like they were like Fugazi or whatever, trying to be anti-corporate and, all of that stuff. And I don't know, man.
I think the problem,
part of it.
The problem with any band when they get that big is, I think it ends up that most members have their own sort of management and they just do what's best for that person, sort of thing, which usually isn't best for that person, but if that works, it's business.
Yeah.
But yeah, it sounds like he was gutted, and he'd still be in Pearl Jam now if they hadn't got rid of it.
Yeah.
It's not like
he was totally surprised. He was completely caught off guard by it, right?
Yeah, now he's got a fucking tattoo.
But that was a beautiful story about that, man. It was cool. And it sounds like him and Stone are like really good mates, right?
Yeah, and I think he's still got a lot of pride in what he did with Pearl Jam. It's not like he's trying to distance himself from it. He still talks about it on Facebook all the time. He's really proud of what he did. Rightly so.
So he should be. Yeah.
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 But yeah, the story about the bracelet with Stone and stuff. Yeah, it was really sad, man.
It's poignant.
Yeah. But you forget, don't you? But they're just mates at the end of the day, aren't they? It's nice. And it was nice, like you said in the interview, that they actually made the effort to go and tell him personally rather than a fucking lawyer turn up. Yeah.
Yeah. So it sounds like him and Stone were like mates from the start and
that's
probably
what
still are, right?
Across.
But maybe, Eddie, maybe not so much.
Everyone loved Stone back in the day, didn't they? All the girls liked Stone as well, didn't they?
Yeah.
Back in the day.
They did. Yeah. They did.
He seems like a nice bloke now in interviews. So get him on now. Anyone from Pearl Jam, you're more than welcome. Come and have a little chat.
I thought I really liked the way he could talk about it, honestly, but he wasn't bitter and.
Yes, that's
it's
what
not many people.
He didn't slag anyone off, did he?
Yeah.
He didn't really slag anyone off. He was quite respectful to people, even though he had disagreements with them. He always...
He did call Eddie Vedder a little fucker.
Yeah.
But in a cheerful way. In a cheerful way. Yeah.
He said he would still go out for a drink or play with any of those guys again.
He did. He did. Yeah. Yeah.
He hasn't got, like Dave said, he hasn't got any bitterness towards it. It's just, he would have rather it continue, but it is what it is, But he was able to articulate differences without just slagging everyone off. It was quite interesting where it got a bit dark when you're talking about Kurt Cobain and stuff.
Yeah.
He said everyone in Seattle had that sad thing. I can't remember what that stands for. It's something...
Seasonal affective disorder.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounded like Sweden, the way he described it.
Yes.
Mm.
Dave
You know,
says
quite-
it's dark all the time in Sweden in the winter.
Sure.
Yeah, but also, you know,
Yeah.
people having quite close-knit cliques, borderline
Mm.
depressed half the time.
Mm.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to do. Definitely for me, seasons really make a big difference when it's longer days and sunny.
So how
I'm in
much
better
impact do you
mood.
think that had on the Seattle sound?
Well, that's what I mean. That's why the scene was so sort of dark, I think. It's because of that. I think probably had a lot to
Well,
do
that
with it.
explains all the drugs and shit. But how about like the sound? Because I guess it is. It's a dark kind of angry
Quite a
sound,
dark
isn't it?
sound, isn't it? Yeah, it's not,
Mm.
you know. I think it probably did have a lot to do with it. I think the seasons have a lot, like you don't get many sort of like gothic, Spanish goth bands and stuff like that, do you? I think it makes a big difference.
I
for
think
you.
you'd be surprised. I think there's probably quite a
probably,
few.
but
Yeah.
you know what I mean. I think that's why there's that weird Norwegian scene.
Yeah.
Where they kill each
Black
other
metal.
and stuff.
They kill each other and burn down churches and stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's got a
Kidnap
lot.
and
I do
torture
think
people and shit.
I think seasons and weather has a lot to do with people's moods. I do.
Sure.
And then that, you know, obviously the music you make's going to be inspired by that. Isn't it?
No, heroin, it's just always so terrifying, I think.
You don't
Yeah,
like
it
heroin, do you, Dave?
No. And it's obviously, there's epidemics of it, aren't there? So there obviously was a heroin epidemic in Seattle.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's what Dave was saying. It wasn't so much. It was more the actual town of Seattle had the sort of heroin thing going on.
Mm.
The bands, when they moved away, it wasn't so bad, but it was the town itself had this undertone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it should be banned.
I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
It just destroys lives.
Or at least
It does.
illegal.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's terrible, isn't it? The
Um,
opioid epidemic in America. And that is legal, right? Have you seen...
That's true.
I think
That's
so.
true. Fentanyl and all of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you fancy anus ankle soup? Just me then.
What is it?
Keep it all for myself.
How is that? What is it?
It was in the interview.
I just thought you
He
randomly
said-
said it.
Yeah.
No, he said it. It's from the song Dirty Frank, which I looked up. It's apparently about their, he talked about their roadie. And there's this thing that he was like a serial killer and he made anus ankle soup out of groupies.
How did I miss that bit? I mean, is
He
it
was
right at the
going
end?
to eat Mike McCready. No, it's kind of halfway through.
Oh.
And I stopped him. I said, wait, what do you mean? Anus ankle soup? And he just said, anus ankle soup. That's his explanation. And it comes from the song Dirty
Anus
Frank. Pearl
ankle
Jam.
soup. I'm just trying to imagine the taste. No, I don't think I'd like it.
No, you don't want to imagine it. No, just put a bit of salt in. It'd be fine.
I mean, it might be all right. Yeah, it'd be all right.
Yeah,
And
don't
don't know
knock
what it depends on the consistency more than
Exactly.
anything
It's like
for me.
aubergine with
I go
cheese
on
on. It's the same.
consistency.
We've got to try it,
Yeah.
you know?
It's probably better
all
than
right.
that.
It probably is. It was horrible.
If anyone's tried it, let us know.
Yeah. Send us your best recipes.
Yeah. It's nice to hear that there wasn't really an actual rift between Pearl Jam and Nirvana. I mean, it was that was more of a media thing.
Yeah. Although his story about Courtney saying, don't play on my husband's stage or something ridiculous like that, except for Dave. Yeah.
She liked Dave, though, didn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think she wasn't joking then?
I think she probably wasn't joking.
Might have just been banter.
Maybe. I don't think so, though.
What about
And yeah,
Guns N' Roses and Nirvana? Was that real, do you think?
That was real.
That probably was.
That was totally real.
They played
Yeah,
at that
yeah.
same MTV, didn't they?
MTV
And
Awards. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't remember what
Yeah,
year it
Kurt
was.
absolutely hated Axel. Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Funny character, isn't he, Axel?
Yeah. Difficult one.
Well, Kurt called him a homophobic, racist redneck or something like that. But yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fair. Well, let's talk about Axel then. So, but then he was saying, like, you know, when he's talked about when he was playing with Axel, he called him insecure. That was interesting, wasn't it?
Dave called Axel insecure.
I thought he said
Yeah.
not insecure.
Oh, yeah, but that's 100%.
I thought he
what
said
it is.
insecure.
Yeah.
Insecurity. Yeah.
But yeah, that's
Yeah.
definitely why he behaves like
Oh
he does.
man,
Yeah, of
most
course.
toxic masculinity is, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
Most of the world's
100%.
problems is just men being insecure, isn't it?
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. I can 100% can imagine that's Axel's problem. Yeah.
Yeah.
And why I don't get along with people. Good to see me. Did he play? I don't think he played, did he? With Guns N' Roses in the end. Did he?
I'm not sure.
He
He
might
did,
have done.
I don't know.
Yeah.
From the
This is
story,
quite
it sounds
scary.
like not.
That Chinese Democracy, that came out
Yeah.
18 years ago now.
No.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it came out in 2007. 2008, maybe. 2008.
Oh, right. Wow.
Mm.
Did everyone get
There's-
their Dr. Pepper?
I don't know. I hope so.
Didn't they? Didn't the CEO of Dr. Pepper say he'd give everyone in America a Dr. Pepper if
I
Guns
remember
N'
there was-
Roses released Chinese
Yeah, there was
Democracy?
something like that. But so there's probably more of a gap between now and Chinese Democracy than there was between
Yeah.
Chinese Democracy and the spaghetti incident.
Wow. That's amazing.
So
Yeah, that's correct.
I don't think they'll do enough rap from Guns N' Roses. If they did, it'd be awful, wouldn't it?
Oh, you never know, you know? Never say never,
No,
man.
you don't.
Never say never.
You don't.
I just want to say, at the end, he said, you know, he sees him, this is talking about the Axl stuff, he sees himself as a musician first and a rock star second. And that is basically the opposite of what, you know, people claim is why he got fired from Pearl Jam. And I thought it was interesting that he said that.
Yeah, we can only go on our conversation with him, and he seems like a really genuine guy. Like, he didn't hold back. He's, you know, it's not like he didn't sort of talk about what he didn't enjoy and stuff. But
Yeah.
I don't think he's got any reason to lie about any of it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
He seems like a decent guy to me.
Yeah.
It was never had
Totally.
any drug problems, or it just
No.
Mm.
And he was a
Everyone liked
really
him.
fucking great drummer. Like you said, he never sort of put a beat wrong. And I know he said
Yeah.
it, but he was a fantastic, well, he still is, fantastic drummer. So I don't know. I think, yeah, it was probably more internal politics that wasn't
Yeah.
really that much to do with him. Don't know.
But what a ride, man. Great album.
Yeah, like I say, he had the best.
Got them at their peak. It's brilliant. Yeah.
Got him at the peak, got some cash, and then fucked off and sat on a beach
Yeah.
and talked to
On
us.
the beach, drinking gin and tonics.
Brilliant.
Being a top bloke, basically.
I'd
That's
say he's
life
done all
goals
right
right there.
You know, yeah.
Yeah.
And he's still enjoying his music and stuff. Well, who knows?
I wish
Pearl Jam need
I
a
wish
new
I
drummer.
could be like that. You know, he could come on this interview. He obviously had a good time, enjoyed it. I would never
Yeah.
I'll never be like that. Just someone
What
who
do you mean?
enjoys, someone who just enjoys interacting with people and having a conversation.
Yeah, that's not
Doing
true.
it now.
You're
doing
a
it
people
now.
person.
Not really, but I really would like to enjoy just being able to chat to people. You know,
Just shoot the breeze.
yeah.
You've done
Yeah.
like
And he could sit there for
110
hours and just have a great
episodes.
time. Eh?
You do it every week with us.
Yeah, man.
Not really.
You're good at it. You're good at it.
People have missed you, man.
No, but this
We
is
haven't,
different. I mean,
but people have.
But I mean, just with people you don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
It's hard, isn't it?
Yeah,
yeah.
It's not easy for most people, I don't think.
It's
I
not
don't find
easy.
it easy.
Yeah.
I mean, to actually enjoy
Same.
doing that, it would be great.
Mm.
Yeah.
Hey, man, you can. You can do it.
Can't know, that's what he's saying.
No, okay, right. Sorry, no. All right. Yeah. All right, let's wrap this motherfucker up. Come on.
So if you are watching this, then please do give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and share it with your friends so that they can find our channel. Get involved in the comments. Let us know your favourite Pearl Jam tracks, gigs, memories, all that stuff. If you're listening, leave us a review, rate us, and again, share it with your friends. That's the best way for people to find the podcast. You can sponsor the podcast, Stupid and Contagious podcast at gmail.com. If you're, I don't know anyone, but if you're in a band, merch seller,
Chimney sweep.
rent boy, anything,
Yeah.
get in touch. You can sponsor the podcast. Dave lovingly created an app for you all, the Stupid app. Go and download that. It takes you from the podcast to Luke's mixtape seamlessly, and that's a seamless link to Luke.
Yes. Yeah, so I'd make a Spotify mixtape. I was quite pleased with last week's one. I made
Double mixtape.
360. Exactly 30 minutes per mixtape.
I hope people have had a listen, because
Unfortunately,
the app can't
yeah.
handle that.
Oh,
Yeah. Sorry about that. I thought about that, but I had
Only linked to one.
fuck it.
I couldn't sacrifice my artistic integrity, so I had to keep them both.
Okay, yeah, go and listen to those mixtapes. They're bloody good.
So this one, yeah, lots of Pearl Jam, of course. Well, only the early stuff that Dave plays on, and also a load of the stuff that we talked about as well. A bit of kind of 70s and 80s hard rock and all of that will be on it. Also, if you're new, welcome aboard. If you're into grunge, we got interview with Christopher from Blind Melon in the archive. So have a listen to that, and also plenty of similar bands from the UK mainly in the archive as well. So
We've got a Grunge special.
I'm sure
as well,
you'll
I
find
think
something.
you'll find.
Hey, yeah,
There's
we
a
got a
Grunge
grunge special.
in there as
We
well.
got a deep dive on In Utero as well. There's plenty of stuff in there.
Yes, yeah, and plenty of future guests, hopefully, from that period. So, yeah. Hope you enjoyed that as much as we did. We'll see you next week for episode 109 of the Stupid and Contagious podcast. Come on, Dave. We've missed this.
Give it some welly.
See you in a minute.